Su Xing was not in a position to decline, and add on that he was curious about the four-style school sword arts. He sought for them inside this classic storage pavilion. It was reasonable to say that the four-style school, as an ancient nine-dragon school, should have more than a few supreme grade rare books, but Su Xing searched for half a day and discovered that not even seeing one was genuinely incredible. This made Su Xing very flabbergasted. Seeing Su Xing's bewilderment, the Taoist master Xiantian then explained the reason. The Four Styles school in the past indeed had many supreme grade, even ancient sword arts. It was just that when the sect-extinguishing disaster occurred, they were looted with nothing left. Currently, the remaining sword arts mostly were conserved by pure fluke or created by a few disciples in the following 100 years. Inside were some sword arts that really were not that bad, but to Su Xing, this type of grade was far from contending against Zhao Hanyan's 72 outer void flying immortals, so practicing them undoubtedly somewhat squandered time. Su Xing feigned satisfaction as he picked, finally choosing a 108 Qianquan overturned sword art. This was saved by the 5th-generation headmaster, but cultivating it was abnormally challenging. 108 swords required heavenly Qian magnetite, 2 and Kuan spinning sand 3. To forge, it was simply unable to be practiced. The reason why Su Xing chose this was only because he felt this 108 was mutually a good fit with the heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5-element sword. Upon it was recorded a few sword arrays that could not be said for sure to intercommunicate usage. Allow this headmaster to say some words out of kindness. Youngsters must not bite off more than they can chew. Being able to adapt yourself is the most important. The Taoist master Xiantian stared blankly when he saw the sword art Su Xing chose, thinking that Su Xing had been attracted by the link recorded in the sword art, and he immediately advised him. With Su Xing's current capabilities, forging 108 Qianquan swords simply was an impossible-to-achieve assignment. Su Xing, this 18 Dark Fire Heavenly Li sword or this, for styles 1 Qi sword, 5 also suit you? Many thanks to headmaster. But disciple has a different plan, Su Xing said. The Taoist master Xiantian muttered to himself, but did not stop Su Xing. Since your intentions are already decided, that is fine. If you encounter a problem, you can speak to this headmaster. Thanks, headmaster. Disciple engraves this great favor to memory. Su Xing bowed. Before he left, the Taoist master Xiantian also gave him a bottle of transforming qi powder that could break through to galaxy cultivation. Although it could not be compared to something like the river scattering pill, it was still a spirit pill. By the time Su Xing left the headmaster's pavilion, he had an additional 2 unexpected harvests. Why is this Taoist master Xiantian this intent on roping Su Xing in? The girls emerged from the star nest, and Shi Yuan asked, confused. Young Lord used Nebula 6 late-stage divine sense to thwart Jiao Shu, and he can also easily take a Nebula magic weapon when confronting it. Finally, one person regulating more than a dozen cultivators at the same stage. Wouldn't you say Young Lord attracts attention? Wu Xinjie smiled. The cultivation Su Xing currently displayed was something he possessed prior to entering the school. As one might imagine, the inside of the sect would certainly spare no effort to give Su Xing benefits to make him have even more of a sense of belonging, so much so that Su Xing wanted to let those inside the sect forge the heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5-element swords, wood element sword, without the slightest hesitation and consent. Only, it was a pity this type of immemorial sword art absolutely could not be made public. Zhu Yueka also should have movements. Wu Xinjie guessed. Go as you wish. Su Xing happily reaped where he had not sown. Seeing Su Xing's expression was cheerful, Wu Xinjie's charming voice said, then, young lord, what do you think of Xinjie's proposals? Do you really want to go to the Azure Dragon territory to solve a few of the labyrinths on the 10,000 spirits notice you spoke of? Su Xing asked.
N.
Xinjie does not wish to be idle. Su Xing knew the knowledge star had fixed her resolve. Turning his head to Lin Wangmai and Yan Yizhen, he said, then you two go together with Xinjie. Master, it is necessary to have one person stay behind to protect you. Forgive slave servant for difficulty in complying. Yan Yizhen was stern. Young lord, Do not make Xinjie worry about you.
Wu Xinjie softly said. You also saw it.
Mazes and puzzles inevitably are solvable, but the dangers are not few. Su Xing was not able to relax over this point. Although Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan combined were strong, their martial strength actually was still somewhat deficient. Lin Yingmei said, Young master, let your servant go together along with the knowledge star. Having been in contact for so long, Lin Yingmei's and Wu Xinjie's friendship was fairly deep. Seeing that Wu Xinjie wanted to exert a bit of strength, naturally she had somewhat of an understanding. Then good. Su Xing nodded. Yan Yizhen, you must protect young master. Lin Yingmei solemnly said to Yan Yizhen. Su Xing smiled. Yingmei, this place is the Four Styles School Center. How could there be any danger? Moreover, am I that unable to withstand a single blow? Apologies, your servant. Lin Yingmei exposed a trace of regret. Su Xing interrupted her words. He actually did not mind, but hearing Lin Yingmei's tone was that concerned, he actually was somewhat happy. You girls hold on to this purple star token. If something dangerous happens, immediately use parodies in a flash. Su Xing ordered. Seeing Wu Xinjie still wanted to decline, he said in a commanding tone, If you are unable to let me be at ease over this point, then I cannot let you girls go out. Xinjie understands. Wu Xinjie bit her lip. But how will elder sister go? And Suin suddenly asked, recalling a difficult problem. The Azure Dragon territory was so vast, and those labyrinths and remains were separated by great distances. If she relied solely on her 2 legs, a month of time simple could only open a few, which was a problem. Furthermore, the Four Styles School was isolated on its lonesome on the sea, so returning was troublesome. No need to worry, Yuan already finished a flight mechanism. Although its speed is somewhat slower, it is usable. Wu Xinjie said, It would be better to first wait a bit, see whether or not I can borrow an even better chariot. Su Xing said, Mirrors flower stream, bamboo forest house. Tang Lianxin sat inside the house, reading an old book held in his hands. His expression was serious and cold. He did not even care that Su Xing entered the house. Tang Lianxin, what are you looking at? Su Xing took the chance to sit beside Tang Lianxin, placing one hand naturally upon his shoulder. Tang Lianxin seemed to be unaccustomed to Su Xing being this close. His brow creased, but he did not pay attention. Su Xing was already accustomed to that antisocial and apathetic disposition of his. Seeing Tang Lianxin reading a Tool Refinement True Flame program, his heart said this child really was obsessed. That 4 schools deep arts' recorded mutual engenderment refinement style could be rated as exquisite, and now, he again was researching how he could use some other type of method to replace the 4 styles refining. That book you gave me last time was very enlightening, so I really don't know how I should thank you. And that expression of Tang Lianxin's probably wanted to say, letting go with your hand will do. Su Xing pretended to be oblivious, smiling. Are we not brothers? No. Tang Lianxin did not want that. It can't be. We count as brothers no matter what, right? You saw that I helped you, so you gave me a very useful book. Any way you put it, our relationship is very close. Master said to make us close as brothers. Wouldn't you saying this make her feel very hurt? Every day, we sleep together, and last time, you even hugged my arm. Is our relationship still not close? Tang Lianxin's pupils widened, his ears turning red. Su Xing began to continuously utter embellishments. The beautiful girls in the star nest could not clearly figure out what medicine he was selling. Just what is Su Xing doing? Shi Yuan was confused. This Tang Lianxin is somewhat strange. Wu Xinjie was puzzled. Strange? Indeed. Young lord is this close, and he still has that manner that makes people stay 3 chi away. Truly dislikable.
Shi Yuan said.
If you have something to say, just say it.
Do not disturb me.
Tang Lianxin finally could not take Su Xing's blabbering. The more he spoke, the more he was lost. He revealed many of his sleeping posture secrets, making Tang Lianxin somewhat resentful. Big brother has something he needs to request in return. Can you help big brother? Su Xing chuckled. The reason why he chatted this long was to make the two's relationship even closer by some. What business do you have? It's this. Could you lend me that fire beacon chariot of yours for me to use? Oh, it's like this. I am very curious about flight astral tools, so I want to research. Su Xing saw Tang Lianxin show suspicion, so he promptly explained. It's fine if you can't. I was only randomly asking. Don't ruin our brotherly bonds because of this. Su Xing laughed. He did not have much of a hope that he would lend his astral tool. Tang Lianxin's hand moved and placed the fire beacon chariot on the ground. Then, he buried his head back in the book without saying a word. Thanks. Su Xing did not expect he would unexpectedly be this good at speaking. Patting his shoulder. In the future, if you encounter anything bothersome, tell Big Brother, and that will do. If you were a woman, I'd really want to give you a kiss, ha ha. All the girls blushed with shame. Leaving the bamboo forest, Su Xing lent the fire beacon chariot to Wu Xinjie. With this kind of astral tool treasure chariot, he could be even more at ease. 7. Who is that Tang Lianxin? Surprisingly, he has a flight astral tool. Shi Yuan was astonished. Originally, even if it was an astral tool, flight astral tools were even fewer. It's probably something he refined himself. Su Xing saw Tang Lianxin's tool refinement extreme talent, and coming out with 2 astral tools, he randomly said something. Wu Xinjie's brow locked tight. In short, you girls be careful. Yingmei, carefully look after Xinjie and Yuan. Su Xing instructed. Yingmei understands. This nevertheless was still the first time they would be apart for a month. Although it was not long, it still actually made Su Xing somewhat reluctant to part. Thank you, young lord, for letting Xinjie be willful. Wu Xinjie restrained her feelings, smiling. She stepped forward and stood tiptoe. Drawing herself past Su Xing's neck, she deep-kissed him. The lips of the two lingered, and only when she was made to pant did the knowledge star drop her lips. This young lady also wants to. Shi Yuan was not resigned to let this chance pass. In front of everyone's faces, they kissed. After their passionate kiss, Shi Yuan's beautiful body powerlessly fell onto Su Xing's shoulder. That was really good. Finally, they directed their gazes to the girl with the blank face. Lin Yingmei stared blankly, realizing the meaning of these expressions. Her face turned slightly red, and she retreated a step. She firmly said, "It is not necessary for your servant. Little sister Yingmei, why are you shy? You will not see young master for a month.
Can you endure it?"
Wu Xinjie giggled and pushed her. Lin Yingmei was pushed into Su Xing's chest. The girl's clean pupils were somewhat helpless like a fawn's. Young master, don't. Recalling that other night when he helped Lin Yingmei change into the belly band, the girl's gentle as water appearance, Su Xing's heart stirred. Smiling, he pulled her in and tenderly kissed Lin Yingmei's lips. Lin Yingmei's pupils froze. She was somewhat inexperienced for her first kiss, but when Su Xing's tongue pried open the girl's white teeth, wantonly sucking her sweetness, both of Lin Yingmei's arms trembled slightly as she grabbed Su Xing's clothes. Her eyes were misty, completely surrendering under the man's dominance. Her tongue unconsciously hooked around his forlornly. They sucked at each other, responded to each other. It seemed as if this kiss lasted a century. The nearby beauties were startled, dumbstruck. Was this really that legendary majestic star? Accepting Wu Xinjie's influence, the remaining people of Flaming Eastern Island made an even greater effort. And Suin returned to the Void Immortal's abode and began to compound a spirit medicine for the breakthrough to Galaxy Stage. Su Xing returned to the bamboo house to thank Tang Lianxin, only to discover he was not inside. From the hot spring behind the bamboo house came noises. Su Xing clearly understood then. Wu Xinjie made him care more for this child, saying that his help was very great. He thought that although Tang Lianxin's temperament was antisocial, he actually was largely very helpful to Su Xing, and just that 4 styles refinement already was pretty good. Su Xing pondered, then stripped and walked in. Flaming Eastern Island's underground fires were continuous, its hot springs countless. To count any of Flaming Eastern Island's most useful specialties, this soaking in a hot spring was categorized as the first. This hot spring of the mirror's flower stream was a place that especially delightful. Steam rose in spirals with a sort of feeling of being wholly changed. "Why are you back so early this time?" Tang Lianxin spotted Su Xing and was startled. "Big brother returned to accompany you?" Su Xing stretched out his arms, walking down into the spa. The burning spa waters cleaned the skin that was recently beaten exhausted, and a kind of comfortable feeling filled his heart. His whole body and his blood vessels seemed to open wide. Tang Lianxin swam to a place further away, staying far from Su Xing. One hand covered his chest while the other was beneath the water. Su Xing saw this guarded appearance of Tang Lianxin and was speechless. It was as if he seemed to be about to violate Tang Lianxin. Su Xing swam towards him. "You, don't come over." Tang Lianxin's tone had a rarely seen slight urgency, wanting to escape. Su Xing did not understand how he was this stirred up. Could it be Su Xing himself had developed as being fiendish, or did it appear that he had that kind of homosexual hobby? The hot spring was not big, so Tang Lianxin very quickly did not have any place to hide. Su Xing swam up beside him, and there was no big deal. He just felt that chatting while near each other was better, nothing more. "Brother Tang, you really are shy. We're both men, so what is there to be ashamed of?" Su Xing washed his body, objecting to Tang Lianxin. Tang Lianxin did not speak, only shutting his eyes. Su Xing felt that he truly was bashful to the point of being interesting. He even more could not help but want to tease him. "Why aren't you washing? Big brother will help wipe your back." Saying this, one hand grabbed Tang Lianxin, and his other held a bath towel, wiping it on Tang Lianxin's back. Tang Lianxin's skin was fair and tender, making Su Xing unable to refrain from being somewhat surprised. This simply was like a woman's skin. Tang Lianxin shrieked, leaving Su Xing. "Don't touch me. You aren't a woman, right?" Su Xing was stunned by this emotional reaction of his. "I just do not like letting people wipe my back. I can do it myself." Tang Lianxin seemed to feel his own reaction was too intense and calmed down. He raised his gaze to look squarely at Su Xing, but with this glance, his eyes were about to pop from their sockets. Su Xing just happened at this time felt that this side was not too awkward, and he rose, wanting to change positions. His scarlet body immediately was revealed before Tang Lianxin's eyes. In particular, Tang Lianxin's line of sight happened to be level with Su Xing's waist and below, taking in everything. His face was red, as if swirling with fire. He submerged half his face into the hot spring, letting out bubbles, with a gulu-gulu sound. Su Xing this bashfulness and laughed. In the army, he was already used to this, so he was far from being like this shyness of his. He really is a pure and innocent boy, Su Xing thought. "Buddy, you being this shy is intolerable. You're already like this looking at a man. If you reach the wedding night of the woman you like, then wouldn't you have a nosebleed?" Su Xing had a commanding, instructive tone. Under Wu Xinjia's enticement, this guy's skin had become very thick. And, seeing his blankness, Su Xing said nothing more. Each minding their own business, they enjoyed the hot spring. Having been in Lianshan for this long, this still was the first thing that let Su Xing separate enjoyable and familiar things. In his ocean of consciousness, he asked his personal maid Yizhen whether or not she would like to take a soak together, but the reply was silence, of course. Flaming Eastern Islands' underground fires were very heavy. Soaking for long in a hot spring with this type of temperature would make people faint with blurred vision. Ordinary star cultivators would find it unbearable, and only when Su Xing used star energy did he improve to an extent. As he bathed, Su Xing suddenly discovered a bit of blood red drifting on the water. Su Xing was startled, believing somewhere on himself that he had a problem. However, as he found that the blood red was increasing, his gaze then followed it over. Surprisingly, it was Tang Lianxin. This child unexpectedly actually had a nosebleed. A pervert, then, to have a nosebleed from looking at a man's body. Su Xing's goosebumps rose. Just as he wanted to stay far away from him, abruptly at this time, Tang Lianxin was somewhat not too normal. Su Xing saw his eyes were hazy, powerless, and in poor health. His hand covered his nose while the other pulled himself over the edge of the bath. that hand sheltering his chest no longer covered it. Through that faintly discernible surface of the water, Su Xing discovered his pectorals were slightly swollen. Looking like a woman's skin, his pectorals were somewhat developed. That's not right. Right now, he was not thinking about that sort of random thing. Su Xing unexpectedly discovered Tang Lianxin had fainted from soaking in the hot spring. This guy really is odd. Already like this, yet he still didn't leave. Seeing Tang Lianxin vaguely lost consciousness, his body slid into the water. Su Xing immediately swiftly hugged him, leaping onto the bank. He reprimanded, "Just how long did you soak in the hot spring? Do you want to die?" From Tang Lianxin's breath came an alluring groan. Su Xing shivered. Suddenly, he saw Tang Lianxin's slightly swollen chest was somewhat not too normal. If they were developed pectoral muscles, there was no reason for them to be breasts bulging like hills, but these also were not like a woman's chest. Feeling this was too inadequate, Su Xing then suddenly found that Tang Lianxin's throat was smooth. Without an atom's apple haze, Su Xing unconsciously looked towards Tang Lianxin's lower half. This glance almost made Su Xing have a nosebleed. He saw that Tang Lianxin's secret place was completely convex. That secret garden did not have any grass to cover it, exactly like the hairless genitals of a woman. The most important thing was that it presented a side completely opposite to a man's physiology. She was a girl. Su Xing immediately leaked blood. Fuck me, this guy surprisingly actually was a woman. Tang Lianxin slowly opened her eyes. Her head was dizzy, and she felt as if she had dreamt a very peculiar dream. Just when she was enjoying the hot spring, a man suddenly charged in. He who did not know her identity as a woman began to greet her, moreover groping her as he wished. Tang Lianxin wanted to leave, but she did not dare rise in front of the man, lest she expose her body. During this careful pondering, that man then very expertly revealed everything in front of her. The Tang Lianxin, who had never seen this type of battle array, had her brain immediately short-circuit. Her nose released heat, and that man endlessly clamored beside her ear, saying something about close brothers should be frank, that they must not regard each other as outsiders. Just kidding, I, Tang Lianxin, am a woman, and who would be a brother with you? That man seemingly was very fascinated by the spa, unwilling to leave even after several hours. Tang Lianxin at this time felt her head was more and more murky, and the dream she had afterward was somewhat unclear. It seemed she was carried, without wearing one thread, out from the hot spring by that man. Without wearing one thread. Tang Lianxin's eyes opened. Immediately, she opened the blanket and saw she was currently wearing her undergarments. Tang Lianxin slightly exhaled, but her face all of a sudden became even more unsightly. She undoubtedly soaked in the spa naked, so how could she possibly be wearing clothes? Furthermore, there abruptly was a sound outside the room. Seeing someone had entered the house, Tang Lianxin unconsciously shut her eyes to feign sleep. She had not finished thinking how she should go about confronting this embarrassment. The man who entered was none other than Su Xing. How is she still not awoken? Su Xing sat beside the bed. He took up the girl's wrist, taking her pulse. Inheriting in Suan's medical expertise, he was somewhat heartful of medical knowledge. Seeing the girl's breath was seemingly long and ragged, it was not too steady, but it seemed that she should have no problems. Buddy. Buddy. You pretended to be a woman for what? Su Xing was nearby, talking to himself. Forget it. You must have your own way of thinking, and I don't feel like investigating it. Although you're a woman, Big Brother does not mind. I will still regard you as a little sister. Su Xing's fingers ran through the girl's hair, his voice exceptionally gentle. If he could see the expression of Yizhen inside the star nest, the maid very much wanted to roll her eyes. You can't blame Big Brother for just now. I didn't expect that you were a woman, otherwise, Big Brother would not soak in the spa together with you. However, mixed bathing actually isn't anything alarming. We're all family, but while I did take a peep, I definitely did not grope you. I helped my woman change clothes before. And it was rather simple. When Su Xing spoke this, his face was somewhat embarrassed because when he helped Tang Lianxin put on her underwear, at that time, he had actually forgotten he could call for Yizhen. It was just that Yizhen did not say anything, so Su Xing forgot for a while. For a man, it was hard to avoid being slightly excited when helping the little white tiger put on her underwear. The Tang Lianxin feigning sleep did not see this at all. Su Xing continued with a fake cough, recovering his seriousness, then seemingly lamented. His tone blamed himself, yet was tender-hearted. You must not blame yourself. Big brother will feel very apologetic. After a short period, seeing that Tang Lianxin was still unconscious, Su Xing helplessly sighed. Big brother will go make a bowl of lotus seed congee for you. Saying this, he then covered Tang Lianxin with the blanket, rose, and left. When Su Xing left, Tang Lianxin opened her eyes. She did not know when, but those pale cheeks of hers were already red. The girl's pupils continuously held an extraordinary splendor. Struggling for a while, she finally faintly sighed.
Lobby.
Su Xing really did boil a bowl of warm and steaming lotus seed swallows nest congee. Yizhen inside his ocean of consciousness asked, confused, Master, just now, what is the reason you would say that? If not just now, then when? Su Xing had no alternative. Briefly explaining, when he took Tang Lianxin's pulse, he felt her heartbeat accelerate, which let him know that she already was awake. She merely pretended to sleep, perhaps because her heart was flustered to the point she did not know how she should confront the situation facing her. A girl's exposed body will always have ill towards it, but not only was she exposed, she was revealed in such an extreme manner. Perhaps even more for her, she was slightly out of her wits. Particularly, she did not know just what sort of thinking Su Xing had. Only for this reason did Su Xing pretend to talk to himself to explain things simply and clearly, while also secretly letting the girl know she could be at ease, that he looked upon her as a little sister. As far as how the result was, Su Xing could only submit to the will of heaven. With light footfalls, Tang Lianxin walked out at this time. She wore tightly sealed clothing, her pupils looking pensively, yet she looked at Su Xing with an expression brimming with coldness and bitterness. Little sister Lianxin, you're up? Su Xing greeted her. Tang Lianxin glanced at the hot and steaming lotus seed swallows nest congee on the table, icily saying to Su Xing, what you said just now is actually true? Absolutely true. Su Xing swore. You truly will not inform on me? Tang Lianxin's tone was frigid. Big brother was still late in protecting you, so how could I inform on you? Su Xing twitched his lips, deeming this beneath himself. Tang Lianxin stared blankly for a time. She bit her teeth. Right now, roll yourself outside for me. From tonight onwards, I will not sleep together with you. Hearing these daydream-provoking words, Su Xing laughed out loud, knowing Tang Lianxin at last had recovered. Ingmei, can Xinjie ask you a question? The fire beacon chariot flashed by with the speed of a shooting star. Wu Xinjie looked at Lin Ingmei and abruptly smiled. What question? Lin Ingmei looked at her. Just how did you sign your contract with young lord? Wu Xinjie was truly curious about this. She believed that she was not the only one, but any person would be brimming with curiosity about the legendary majestic star that had signed a contract, when she had never done so. From that kiss, when they had just left, Lin Ingmei apparently had not been compelled at all. Yeah, elder sister Ingmei. How did young Lord Su Xing make you sign a contract?
Shi Yuan asked.
This is not important. Lin Ingmei shook her head. Seeing that Lin Ingmei's disinclined to reply manner, Wu Xinjie stuck out her tongue and no longer questioned her. The fire beacon chariot suddenly stopped, and Wu Xinjie gazed at a hill far into the distance. What's the matter? Sister Xinjie, the King Liang historical remains aren't here, right? Shi Yuan said. Lin Ingmei followed Wu Xinjie's line of sight and also spotted that upper ridge, and her eyelids could not help but jump. That is Jingyang Ridge. Wu Xinjie exclaimed all of a sudden. I never heard of Jingyang Ridge having anything good. Shi Yuan pondered. Wu Xinjie shook her head. They say that after the birth outline of the Star Duel's second phase begins, a slant-eyed, white-headed beast will sometimes appear on Jingyang Ridge. Slant-eyed, white-headed beast. Shi Yuan's brows wrinkled. Inside her memories of the Star Duels, She vaguely remembered a trace of the meaning contained in this name. I seem to have heard of this before. You'll know it by its other name. What name? The slant-eyed white-headed beast is known to us sisters as the white and black unicorn tiger beast. 2. White and black unicorn tiger? Sure, Yuan was astonished. This isn't. It is exactly the pilgrim Wu Song's starborn beast. 3. Wu Xinjie said with certainty, a peculiar brilliance within her eyes. Ah, so it's elder sister Wu Song's. Sure, Yuan said in admiration. No wonder the previous generation's Wu Song could proudly fight for supremacy. We can only obtain our star beasts during the 3rd phase, and elder sister Wu Song surprisingly already obtained hers at the 2nd phase. Obtaining it is nevertheless not simple. Wu Xinjie shook her head, turning her head back to look and smile at the blankly staring Lin Yingmei. Should we go to Jingyang Ridge to take a look? It can't be said for sure if we might run into the harm star that will not sign contracts, like you. Since the previous generations, the relationship between you and she was pretty good. I heard that it seems the previous generation's Lin Chong almost could for the first time aim for Liangshan without a contractor. So there was this sort of thing also? Sure, Yuan looked at Wu Xinjie with admiration. She proved herself to be the ranked 3rd knowledge star. On the other hand, Sure Yuan herself was unaware of many of the Star Duel's Liangshan maiden sisters' secret rumors, without exception. Lin Yingmei was briefly distracted before she finally, lightly shook her head. We had best not waste time. Young master is still waiting for us. Wu Xinjie thought this over and also nodded, once again driving the fire beacon chariot. Lin Yingmei turned her head back to glance at that Jingyang Ridge, a pensive look in her eyes. On Jingyang Ridge, an immense white tiger meekly lay on the ground. Its whole body was like snow, completely lacking in purity. Its 2 pupils looked like frost and snow, close to a transparent white. 2 girls leaned upon its body. One of them, a girl with long black hair fine as water, gently pet the white tiger. She was precisely the harm star Pilgrim Wu Song. Indeed worthy of being the harm star beast. Shower almost just died here. All the bones in Shower's body were broken. Thanks. Remember your agreement with Shower? Shower shrugged her shoulders. Wu Song gazed at that cold, splendid beauty of the white tiger, revealing a faint smile. In an instant, she turned her head and glanced at the horizon, her starry eyes half squinted. What's the matter? Shower said. Wu Song slightly shook her head. Just at this time, they saw several dozen sword lights flicker onto Jingyang Ridge. Xiao yawned. A group of idiot cultivators come to throw away their lives? In the blink of an eye, Jingyang Ridge already was completely surrounded by 100 cultivators. These cultivators stood on flying swords, their hands raising sword arts. Artifacts in hand, each and every one a powerful enemy. The one in the lead was a severe old man, and his cultivation had reached the peak of Galaxy late stage. 33 raging flame flying swords formed a sword array, appearing to be extraordinary. Wu Song, you killed our Nine Sons sect headmaster. If you are willing to sign a contract with our Nine Sons sect, we will not look into this matter any further. Otherwise, do not blame us for being rude. The 100 Nebula stage and above cultivators were brimming with self-confidence. Even if it was the legendary Wu Song, being encircled by this many people, it was impossible for her to escape unscathed, right? It seemed this Nine Sons sect wanted to become the first great school in Liangshan continent's history to contract Wu Song. Wow, 100 star cultivators. So imposing and scary. Shower giggled. Elder sister Wu Song truly has attracted affections. Shall Xiao help you? As long as you tell Xiao your true name. The harm star thought this beneath her. That white and black unicorn tiger abruptly stood, and an ice-cold to the extreme aura immediately enveloped Jingyang Ridge. Ah! The slant-eyed, white-headed beast? This is bad. Wu Song has subdued her star beast. How can this be? How can she subdue this type of star beast? What sort of star general is that girl? Every star cultivator seemed to have already gave rise to a panicked expression. Do not panic. The severe old man shouted, his voice like a booming bell. How could it be that we are afraid of her with this many peoples? Another one who is not willing to peacefully enjoy his late years. The harmed star sneered. Her eyes were like morning stars, bright and penetrating. Then let me send you on a journey. 5. Roar. Immediately, the white tiger's howl resounded on the ridge. 9 sons had met misfortune with the harmed star. Under the pretense of Su Xing's excuse, ever since he knew of Tang Lianxin's identity as a woman, not only did the relationship between the two not fall off, they actually were somewhat close. In psychology, it seemed this probably would be called shared secret, a kind of secret that only 2 people would know that would make their relationship become outstandingly close. Su Xing felt this indeed was rather useful. Su Xing would inquire her about whatever things he did not understand about tool refinement, and Tang Lianxin's level truly was excellent. Many details pertaining to tool refinement were all emptied among each other. If it was any other person, they would need a year to grasp these things while he did not need even a day to be able to comprehend. This sort of progress could be said to be fierce. Su Xing actually had a plan to ask her to help forge a few powerful bullets for Silverblade. Not long after, Zhu Yueka also taught Su Xing the introductory soul technique for the Heavenly Water Heart Flame. Right now, Su Xing's mission could be said to be burdensome. Every day, he was inside the Purple Star Void Immortal's abode, unceasingly cultivating the Heavenly Water Heart Flame, the innate Bagua escape technique, chaotic tail escape, absolute sincerity soul technique, the blooming water divine thunder, and purple star transforming chi. Fortunately, he had a Purple Star Grade Void Immortal's abode. Although his cultivation had been stuck after reaching a bottleneck, the Immortal's abode's spirit chi actually helped Su Xing seemingly walk the clear skies in practicing the cultivation methods. And just when Su Xing was occupied increasing his strength, another major event occurred in the Azure Dragon territory. The unique and exceptional genius Yizhen Yuan, who had been described as the Azure Dragon territory's #1 Star Master, fought over a Heavenly Spirit grade chest with another Star Master. The result was that this top-notch genius unexpectedly lost. In the end, it still took the intervention of a few elders from the most high path in order to save him, and this event made the Azure Dragon territory shook up. The cultivators of the Azure Dragon territory discussed 3 immortal and 3 deities of this generation's star duels, the 6 Star Masters that possessed the greatest talent. The cultivation of these 6 were not only at galaxy stage and above, their strength and background were all exceptional. In particular was Azure Dragon territory's #1 great sect, the most high path Yizhen Yuan, who was even more chosen as Azure Dragon territory's head Star Master. However, no one had ever expected he would surprisingly lose at the hands of another Star Master. And the name of that Star Master that struck down Yizhen Yuan with a single blow was immediately memorized by everyone. He had turned into the second name after the purple thunder monster that shook Liangshan. Coming from the Black Turtle territory, he was the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. Yellow Sea, the 100 seabirds carrying the birth outline chest on their backs, let out a grievous howl before finally withering and dissipating into the clouds, dropping the chest. Plundering a birth outline at the Yellow Sea, it was the Yellow Sea sect, the giant whale gang, 6 which specialized in cultivating water arts. The sect's disciples exceeded 1,000 people, and even a few great schools with 10,000 people did not dare rashly provoke them on the seas. Quickly go snatch it back. A bald man shouted in a loud voice. A cultivator, riding a giant whale, rushed towards the chest. In an instant, the expressions of the cultivators close to the chest contorted in bitter pain as they fell into the sea. They saw the chest was being supported by a clump of black smoke. The giant whale gang's cultivators were scared pale, every one of them stopping their movements. A black phantom appeared in it, cradling the chest in his hands. TCH, an earthly fiend grade chest. Makes this holy lord extremely disappointed. The man muttered. Fellow, the earthly fiend grade chest was robbed and killed for by the giant whale gang. We also ask that fellow not set down the chest, for amiability makes you rich. A tall and sturdy man cupped his fist while secretly using sound transmission to give the order to his subordinates to prepare to snatch it back. What kind of thing are you? What qualifications do you have to make demands of this holy lord? The man hooked his lips into a sinister smile. Daring to call yourself holy lord, then do not blame us. The big man saw that he was no more than at galaxy middle stage. How could he be afraid? The 100 giant whale gang cultivators struck hand seals, and a magic circle fluttered. A great array appeared on the tranquil sea, enveloping the man in a ray light as the sea waters boiled. Whale roar sea flipping arrays. 7. The giant whale gang loudly shouted. Ha, 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 ha. Truly too laughable. Unexpectedly playing with maritime tactics in front of this holy lord. The man chuckled. Xiangfei, let them know what is called displaying your skills before an expert. A gorgeous and alluring girl was revealed. It's a Star General's? Star Master. A galaxy middle stage Star Master. When she appeared, the giant whale gang disciples all shouted in fright. The woman raised her hand and revealed a sword with a carved dragon. Then, waving the carved dragon sword, the white dragon carved onto the sword swam out. The sword compressed into a weapon that was like a stick yet not like one. The giant whale gang's big man could tell that was a long lance. 8. That's the white knight dragon carving lance. 9. What? You're the holy lord of draconic demon, quickly kill. The 100 disciples shouted. The girl whose hand grasped the dragon carving sword was cold. Her forehead released her star crest, the weapon's white dragon flying to and fro. They saw a white light suddenly shine. The whale roar sea flipping array was unexpectedly suppressed by her imposing air, and the great array suddenly collapsed. A white light soared, lifting the sea's surface, forming a terrifying white sea dragon. As if it had substance, when everyone saw this frightening magic, they were all stunned. Go! The woman shouted. Roar! The sea dragon roared, turning over the surface of the sea. Immediately, it pounced on all the cultivators, nearly without any margin for resistance. The place the sea dragon swallowed had defenses that were laughably weak. The sea dragon continuously turned over on the sea surface, and in the blink of an eye, the 100 disciples suffered more than 50% casualties. The tall and sturdy person was unresigned. He raised a sword art, and 22 giant whale swords twisted for a kill on the sea dragon, but the sea dragon was under the operation of the girl. The sword array immediately broke, and though the big man wanted to run, a black light covered his body. Finally, he only saw another girl appear, and his brain was immediately plucked by a black talon. After the battle ended, the sea rolled with red blood, dead calm. Not a single cultivator was left. It truly is tedious that the purple star-grade chest still has yet to appear. The black dragon armor girl stretched her face. Holy Lord, another birth outline chest has appeared. The girl holding the dragon carving sword calmly said, stowing her sword. Where? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon asked, excited. The Baosi. A crimson long sword floated in front of Su Xing. Its entire body was darkness and light, the magic engravings flying. The flame pattern engraving carved onto the blade's edge immediately fluttered. Su Xing pressed his star energy, enshrouding the sword in a tremendous star energy. The firelight shone intensely, and the talisman carvings flying in loops slowly melted. This happened to be the clinging fire star domain sword that had been given a Forbiddance marking. Ever since he had some degree of achievement with tool refinement, Su Xing also knew he should somehow break the Forbiddance mark upon this. In actuality, it was not difficult. Using the mutual restraint power would work. Forbiddance marking type fire. Su Xing already grasped the scope of the Heaven's Will water flame he acquired from Zhu Yueka's teaching. It so happened that it could break that. For the past few days, the clinging fire star domain sword also reached the final juncture. Su Xing struck several hand seals, and the Heaven's Will water flame sprayed out from his mouth. The dark blue water flame was like fire, yet not like fire, like water, yet not like water. Endlessly profound. Under the violent launching of the heaven's will water flame, the fire-type magic carvings broke, one by one. After several hours, finally, the last magic engraving collapsed. This astral treasure suddenly screamed. Su Sheng made his divine intent enter it, controlling this clinging fire star domain sword to his hand. His heart could not help let loose a breath, delight on the tip of his brow. With this astral treasure in hand, he could count as having a helping hand for the future purple star-grade birth outline. As he thought this, the room's door gently opened. The indifferent Yizhen walked in. Seeing Su Sheng had at last completed the astral treasure's refinement, her eyes secretly carried a trace of praise, yet she expressionlessly said, "Master, slave servant has discovered that a birth outline will appear in the Baosi waters near flaming Eastern Island. Does Master wish to go plunder it?" "Birth outline? Of course we'll plunder it." Su Sheng nodded. Regardless of whether it was a heavenly spirit or earthly fiend, it was impossible to miss. Because some birth outlines fell into a few places that great sects were incapable of contending against, they had no choice but to give up. Like the other chests, all were needed to be retrieved by any means necessary, particularly the chest this time that surprisingly was about to fall onto his doorstep. Staring blankly and missing it just was not Su Sheng's style. However, Su Sheng had just finished refining the clinging fire star domain sword. His star energy was greatly depleted. In the end, only after he drank several bottles of returned spirit liquid did he exit the four-style school with Yizhen. With this type of business as the robbing and killing for a birth outline, Su Sheng did not bother ensuing. The efficacious star currently concentrated on the galaxy stage breakthrough pill. She probably would be laboring these several days, so Su Sheng did not want to disturb her. The sea area of the Baosi near flaming Eastern Island was vast. Several hundred cultivators had already waited for a long time. Su Sheng restrained his breath, concealing his figure in a dark place and biding his time. The robbing and killing of the birth outline was the crucial point anyways. This time, the cultivators in the air above the Baosi all were from the sect, Baosi Sword School. Located in their sect's territory because the distance was far, although the other small schools and scattered star cultivators wanted to compete, they nevertheless were powerless. They could only stare and watch as the Baosi Sword School lay down a great array. Rays of light fled to the Baosi's air like meteors, falling into the ocean. They saw the sea's surface suddenly churn, and a pair of matchlessly surging wings of sea waves unfolded from behind. That wing was like a sword edge, tearing open the air. An immense beyond compare water morphological creature emerged from the sea. That huge creature was just like an iceberg, its entire body of water form and structure. Its entire body was also transparent, making it possible to see a light-emitting treasure chest inside its stomach. Shockingly, it was a heavenly spirit-grade treasure chest. The water monster roared, spraying out a great expanse of water bullets. A type of unprecedented pressure bore down towards all the cultivators present. When confronting it, there unexpectedly was a kind of choking feeling that made them unable to move, and the prepared great array was immediately forgotten. The water monster's water bullets diffused like a torrential downpour, which turned several dozen cultivators into honeycomb by the attack. It was completely the water figure's immense power it fired that was tyrannical, for ordinary artifacts' defenses completely lacked usefulness. Fifth-rank demon beast, Sea Mother, quickly kill it. An elder of the Baosi Sword School directed everyone, and more than a dozen galaxy cultivators controlled their sword arts. The watery flying swords synchronized, flashing a dazzling cold light, but the Sea Mother's body was like water. The flying swords pierced through its body without any resistance, not the least bit useful. On the other hand, the Sea Mother released an extremely strange tone. Its water physique violently shot, and more than 1,000 water snakes soared from its surface, just like a blossoming water flower. Afterwards, its tone flattened, turning into a violent tempest like a sharp arrow. This was the first time he confronted this kind of torrential-style oppression. Even the Su Sheng hidden far away could feel the heavy pressure pressing on his whole body. Worthy of being the birth outline's final stage, the demon beast transporting the birth outline was increasingly frightful. This sea mother was aquatic, so the usual methods were simply completely useless. The Baosi sword school cultivators simultaneously raised their flying swords. A forbidance of blue splendor opened, like a transparent water screen. Fully aware of the power of this type of torrential arrow storm from the sea mother, even if it was a galaxy stage cultivator, they still would not dare directly touch it. The defensive light added onto their bodies caused a majority of the water snakes to die out on contact. However, the defenses were not at all endless. Along with the water snake's degree of concentration, the defensive light was also currently slowly weakening. The Baosi sword school's elder rushed out of the downpour of arrows. The power of the sword light of 15 blue treasure swords made the waves utterly crash, but it was useless. To the sea mother, his power alone really held no threat whatsoever. "See how the great me will slaughter you." A penetrating and conceited male voice.
Su Xing paid attention to that.
A nebule middle-stage cultivator appeared in the air. His cultivation could only be said to be ordinary, and to the sea mother, he simply did not constitute a threat at all. However, his forehead flashed a faint blue star crest. The light dazzled with the luster of gems. Astonishingly, he was a star master. The sea mother took in and sent out an expanse of water snakes that went to attack him. In the robbing and killing of the birth outline, these transport demon beasts often prioritize their hostility on star masters. That man was not at all afraid. A loud laugh that seemed to abandon all restraint. A woman's figure flew out from behind him, and that was quite a beautiful woman. Her hair was dark blue, and she wore a blue palace skirt. Particularly eye-catching was the girl's muslin damask on her shoulder, a blue serene to the depths. Talisman script circulated, and a shining star flashed. The girl raised the streamers of her shawl, and countless blue spearheads shot out from within the streamers, possessing even more of an imposing air than the Baosi sword array. After slaying several hundred water snakes and braving the roaring wind pressure, every one of the Baosi cultivators seized the chance to once again attack. The sea mother opened its mouth. It was difficult to imagine that body made from water could release such a tyrannical power, as if it sucked the sea into its chest. A powerful stormy sea immediately made the majority of cultivators terminate their operations. This space already became a hurricane like hell. The movements of all the cultivators began to have difficulty, and these water waves certainly were not the same type of waters as the ocean. Rather, it was a power created from the strong magic energy the sea mother used. The demon beast sea mother issued a strange low roar. Its body let out a loud sound that ripped eardrums, and suddenly, several dozen shooting stars that dragged a watery spray shot out from its surface, falling from its body. A water shooting star smashed several hundred meters away, the airflow of the attack scraping whole body burns on people. "Young master, be careful," that blue-robed girl sneered. The two individuals really were not ordinary. Glancing at each other with a tacit understanding, they suddenly leapt into the sky and flew towards the sea mother. The rays of light from the girl's streamer reached their peak, and that man struck hand seals, each of their star crests shining. Forming a flowing light, Su Xing was very familiar with the scene, knowing at a glance the two were using resonance. "Eat my yellow rank magic. Muddy sea breaks the sky." "Two," the girl shouted, and the streamers suddenly flew out. In Su Xing's astonished view, he heard a high-pitched dragon's cry resound through the sky. The streamers were like a dragon, and the water of the sea condensed onto its body, its imposing manner especially dreadful. High up in the air, there was a shift in the sky. Already diving downwards at high speed, it formed a frightening tsunami. Even if the attack was very far away, the intense wind pressure already blew Su Xing's hair, leaving it fluttering in the wind. The waves of the sea rolled and folded layer upon layer, blown to the four directions. A severe and sharp whistle shook the eardrums of everyone in the surroundings. Su Xing was stunned, recognizing the history of this streamer. Blue waves, heavenly clear damask. 3. The ranked 68th forward star, Cave Emerging Dragon Tong Wei's destined star weapon. It is a magic energy star general. Yizhen's tone was concentrated, her vermilion pupils slightly narrowed. The star generals altogether were divided into the 4 categories of martial force, magic energy, spirit energy, and martial and magic. 5. Martial force star generals' attacks were strong and fierce, chopping artifacts and breaking magic like paper scraps, so this type of star general was the most dramatic star general in Liangshan continent. Spirit energy star generals, then, were part of every kind of support type. Their own martial power was not too outstanding, but besides erasing star magic, their every other aspect was excellent. Including the wonderfully scheming resourceful star, the miracle cure efficacious star, and even the hiding and escaping into the wind thief star, they were all considered spirit energy type. And magic energy was extremely special. This type of star general was itself weak in martial force, but used a profound skill. The lesser of these skills could overtake sword light, and could be so large as to possibly move mountains. Magic energy star generals had an enormous characteristic that what they used was not an immortal art or magic, but rather star magic, an ability specific to star generals. Even if it was a heavenly star, they would have to somewhat weigh this type of star magic, not daring to directly receive it, thus it could be said like this. Magic energy star generals in some aspect were even more terrifying than martial force star generals. Among the most famous star generals was the leisure star dragon in the clouds. Her profound magic powers were such that even the Jade Qilin needed to be careful. Su Xing had come to Liangshan for so long, yet this was still the very first time he had seen a magic energy star general. The Sea Mother was cut in half by the storm raised over the sea, but its body of water immediately condensed. However, it was smaller than before. The Sea Mother angrily howled, and a huge water spout suddenly appeared. Several dozen cultivators that were the closest were sucked into the tornado, afterwards falling onto fragmented earth. Huar, 6 careful. In the moment the Star Master saw, a weapon in his hand shot towards the Sea Mother. That dark blue sword shadow swept past a gap on the Sea Mother's body, shuffling to and fro in its attack of a storm, just like an ocean swallow. The light arcs bright as snow cut open a large circle in the sky, suddenly cleaving towards the Sea Mother's non-existent illusory head. The Baosi sword school saw this, and gave even more of their all to initiate an assault on the Sea Mother. That blue wave's heavenly clear damask of the cave emerging dragon Tong waved, and the ocean then transformed into an attacking dragon. Its continuous attacks were far more powerful than the cultivator's sword arts by several factors. Every time it struck upon the Sea Mother, it would stir up an immense jolt. Even if the Sea Mother was terrifying, the forward star cave emerging dragon Tong Hua's star magic happened to be used smoothly and easily. Under the 100 cultivators' constant assault, the Sea Mother finally could not support itself. Its body was increasingly small, broken and dispersed, a rain falling in a range of several dozen li. The heavenly spirit grade treasure chest then fell out. Huar, we have succeeded, ha, ha. The Star Master laughed loudly. The Baosi sword school was briefly ecstatic. This still was the first time they had plundered this heavenly spirit grade treasure chest. Tong Hua's face carried a disdainful smile. Just at this time, she suddenly shouted, "You sneak, still not coming out. Did you really think that you could fool me, the cave emerging dragon on the seas? How laughable." The Baosi sword school's 100 cultivators entered an alert state. Su Xing secretly admired this. She deserved to be called a magic energy star general, for she possessed an even greater sensitivity towards the fluctuations in star energy. Su Xing had believed that the cave emerging dragon Tong Hua had discovered him. Just as he was about to appear, he suddenly discovered that things were not too favorable for him. All of the Baosi sword school's cultivators faced formidable enemy, where even the forward star Tong Hua wore a grim expression. Their guard was actually directed in a different direction. Black smoke condensed in the air, and when it condensed, it again dispersed, from which a figure slowly appeared. The newcomer was draped in a black cloak, wore black armor, an imposing appearance. His appearance was demonic, and his expression had a kind of sharpness that tore into people's hearts. Su Xing could not help but stare blankly when he saw his appearance. A galaxy middle-stage Star Master? That Star Master they once briefly encountered at the Divining Star platform. Su Xing never thought that he would unexpectedly appear here, and seeing his body techniques were abnormally ghostly, he unexpectedly could not sense it. Devil's Smoke Shapeshifting. You are a disciple of the Black Turtle Territory's devil cults. The eyesight of the Baosi Sword School's elder was sharp, breaking through the magic the opponent used with a glance. His complexion was pale, for he could not help but be stunned. The Devil's Smoke Shapeshifting escape technique was an extremely incredible concealment escape technique. This type of escape technique necessarily made the cultivator's mind pass through the tempering and refinement of 18 hells to begin. Ordinary cultivators simply were incapable of mastering it, and the cultivator that could execute the Devil's Smoke Shapeshifting would undoubtedly be a frightening character. The Baosi Sword School elder was astonished some. The young man before him was just 25, 26, but the Devil's Smoke Shapeshifting unexpectedly was somewhat matured. He feared that of the 18 layers of hell, at least 10 layers had been passed. A kind of unprecedented pressure made the elder's forehead flow with cold sweat. You surprisingly know, so you have some eyesight? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons' lips flashed a loathing smile. Since your highness is of the Black Turtle Territory and is capable of the Devil's Smoke transforming shape escape, it may be assumed you are a man of the Heavenly Underworld sect. 2. The Baosi Sword sect has already revered the Black Turtle Territory's #1 sect, the Heavenly Underworld sect, for a long time, not at all hostile. The elder's voice carried a trace of deference. This made Su Xing feel rather flabbergasted. Intruded upon in their own Baosi, they actually showed such meekness. This Heavenly Underworld sect's influence was not small. Su Xing watched this Star Master, whose cultivation was unexpectedly galaxy middle stage, fearing that he was not simple. Your eloquence makes it sound so pleasant. This Holy Lord actually cannot make things hard for you? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon loudly laughed, an attitude of entreating lower people. How about this? The Heavenly Spirit chest belongs to this Holy Lord, and this Holy Lord will let go of that forward star. Disciple of the devil cults, cease your ravings. Calling yourself some Holy Lord, I see that you are merely of a generation that is impressively posturing yet lacks substance. Elder, speaking on such good terms with this devil cult person. These devil disciples that do not know the immensity of heaven and earth, within the range of influence of this school, the sea is the savage. It truly is unknown whether one will live or die. The Baosi Sword School's disciples' angered voices sprung up all around, already unable to bear looking at this Holy Lord of Draconic Demons' arrogant manner any further. The Baosi was the Baosi Sword School's sphere of influence. If they were intruded upon by an outsider and made to so submissively present the birthday outline chest to him, if word got out, the Baosi Sword School could not show its face thereafter. The elder had a trace of indignation, lowering his voice. This Taoist deeply respects the Underworld Heaven Sect Master of the Heavenly Underworld Sect. Your Highness is rather too arrogant among this Baosi Sword School. Humph. You want to profit from us in front of the cave emerging dragon. You truly are dreaming. Tong coldly shouted, already resentful of the man before her. Her hand gestured, and the blue-waved heavenly clear damask rolled up. The sea waters gathered, and under her reaction, they were already like a released dragon. The ocean surged, the waves overflowed, and a sea beast formed of water took shape. Astonishingly, it was about the same as the Sea Mother just now. Relying on the soul of the recently perished Sea Mother, the forward star turned it into a terrible demon beast that was no different. Su Xing secretly praised her, for this magic energy Star General was remarkable, as expected. With the Sea Mother keeping watch, all the disciples believed their forces had multiplied. Is the cave emerging dragon so amazing? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons sneered. Yet how does she compare to the river dragon? 3. What? Everyone was stunned. Suddenly, they saw a dark blue star crest flash on his forehead, and a gorgeous and enchanting girl astonishingly appeared. Star General? Star Master? A galaxy middle stage Star Master. These cultivators' amazement had not yet finished. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons' forehead once again was overlaid with a black sigil, and another dark shadow emerged. The gloomy girl wearing a black dragon-armored jacket appeared to the side of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. Her expression was strangely cold, a black fright. "Young master, what nonsense is there for these trash?"
Ah.
2 star generals. How is this possible? How can he have 2 star generals? Everyone immediately was somewhat flustered. 1 star general was sufficient to make them seemingly overlook a great enemy, but 2 star generals already frightened the souls from their bodies. This sort of thing was rarely seen in Liangshan. 2 star generals? Yizhen's tone concentrated. Su Xing was grim, treating this man from the Black Turtle territory even more severely.
Kill.
Tong, Hua shouted. The entirety of the Sea Mother twisted, and a pair of sea wings majestic beyond compare unfolded from its water body. That blade-like wing ripped apart the tranquil ocean, sending a watery mist galloping over the sea. As far as the eye could see, the entire ocean shuddered under this attack of the Sea Mother demon beast, lamenting. The unstoppable gale blew a tsunami of a frantic attack, and like a mountain, the tremendous Sea Mother entrenched itself above the sea like this, bellowing. A rumbling like a thunder roll. Countless waterspouts once again bubbled up on the sea. More than 1,000 water snakes broke away and pounced forth from the surface of its wings. They scuttled across the sky like fireworks, then simultaneously turned around, shooting directly towards the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon like a storm of arrows. Facing a heavy rain of water snakes that filled the whole sky pouncing towards him from above, for a split second, a hint of despair could be sensed. The other cultivators were also, without the slightest hesitation. 100 flying swords split the seas against the waves, attacking. Shengfei, allow this little sister to know that a dragon is only a dragon in the end. 5 in front of a dragon. 6 it will savagely leave the stage. The black-armored girl smiled demonically. That beautiful and splendid girl's hand gripped a dragon-carving sword. The sword turned into a lance, immediately slashing downwards. In the blink of an eye, a tsunami rocketed with a quake, forming a 100-jong tall wall that intercepted the flying swords and the Sea Mother's attack. The young girl immediately afterwards waved the carved dragon lance, reading an incantation. A white dragon seemingly came to life and dove underwater, forming white waves that turned into a whirlpool on the water's surface. A booming sound. An immense dragon rushed out of the water. White Knight Dragon carving lance. It's the Longevity Star River Dragon Li Jun. 7. Everyone involuntarily cried. The previously icily arrogant forward star Tong Hua's expression was like ash. The Longevity Star River Dragon was the #1 naval force among the 108 Maiden Mountain Sisters. The 26th ranked Longevity Star River Dragon Li Jun could be rated as abnormal, especially in naval combat. Her star magic was terrifying. Even if it was the strongest military strength star general, they would not have the confidence to fight the Longevity Star on the water and win. On the sea, the river dragon was an ocean-turning divine dragon. Cave-emerging dragon? River-churning clam? How could a dragon, and clam have the qualifications to be mentioned in the same sentence as a dragon? 9 on the seas, the river dragon was exactly genuinely without equal. The huge sea dragon soared high into the air. Its mouth spat out several dozen fine, yet incomparably dazzling white lines. With those wandering everywhere below, the blind attack was completely different from the water waves. These rays of light streaked a dazzling trajectory in the sky, and a penetrating and roaring tsunami and gorgeous flying sword directly shot towards everyone. The flying sword disintegrated. The Sea Mother was extinguished. Wherever this white line passed, the seawater seemingly was torn apart. The cultivators simply were too late to react, and neither did they have any room to resist. Young master. Tong Hua's expression greatly changed.
Ah.
A blood-curdling scream, and the forward star's young master directly was pierced through the chest, dying just like this. Tong Hua's mouth spat fresh blood, her vitality greatly injured. With irrepressible anger in her eyes, she actually flipped up the blue wave's heavenly clear damask. River Dragon Yizhen, you are the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. Everyone competed for a path in a fluster. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon recently defeated the Azure Dragon Territory's number 1 star, Master Yizhen Yuan. How would these people dare firmly fight when they had this name? Run quickly. The Baosi Sword School elder loudly shouted, raising a sword light and dodging. Run, what delusion do you speak of? The young girl wearing a Demon King's gloom blocked in front of him. A cold light fully appeared in her hand, and the elders urged his sword to block it, but in such a close range, being closed in on by a star general was simply like a nightmare. 2 talons of twinkling black stars completely lacked suspense in breaking open whatever defense he had. By the time the Baosi Sword School elder felt it, his heart was already held in that girl's sharp talons, still beating with a thump-thump. You monster, the old man grieved. It was torn to shreds by the girl's claw, and she sneered, I like this sort of praise. She turned her head. She saw that the forward star Tong Hua was still going all out in her resistance. The blue wave's heavenly clear damask rolled out every sort of star magic. The sky was filled with water swords, tsunamis endlessly swept, but under the eyes of the river dragon Yizhen, they could not withstand a single blow. The river dragon Li Xiangfei brandished the white knight dragon carving lance. The sea dragon became larger and pounced at Tong Hua. Tong Hua blocked with both her hands. The huge sea dragon in no time engulfed her. A single blue streamer floated all alone. The river dragon Yizhen's star magic sea dragon was like a monster, unstoppable as it exterminated the majority of the star cultivators. The water sword the Baosi Sword School star cultivators cultivated naturally was incredible, especially since they were within the range of the Baosi. Some star cultivators that broke away from the sea dragon's attack wanted to escape, but the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon coldly smiled. How could he let these people go? 8 immense black banners rose, shrouding them in a clump of black fog, forming an immense forbiddance that made everyone have no door to hell and no road to heaven. Sacrifice yourselves to this Holy Lord's devil sword. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon coldly chuckled. A black devil sword like a specter wreaked havoc, with continuous blood-curdling screams sounding inside the great array. Just when he raised the black forbiddance banners, the Su Xing watching the battle from the sidelines suddenly felt that this was not too encouraging, not good. Su Xing immediately used an innate Bagua escape technique, his figure escaping out from its corner. It was by a lucky coincidence. Suddenly, an emerging specter burst out from the place he was hiding in. The devil's sword that did not taste essence blood howled in grief. Su Xing's unexpected appearance also made the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon and his 2 star generals very surprised. Incredible, incredible. If it was not for this Holy Lord's underworld prison banner, 10 that can sense the presences of everything around, this Holy Lord unexpectedly would not have discovered a person hiding in a dark place. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's eyes let off light. It's you, that one that seized the purple star great outlaw writ. 11 Su Xing was fully aware of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's abnormal might. Immediately shouting, blooming water divine thunder boomed over. Su Xing's figure flashed, rushing towards that heavenly spirit-grade chest and that streamer that was yet to be taken by the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. At the present moment, he could only exhaust everything he could possibly think of. The river dragon Yizhen waved the white knight dragon carving lance, and the sea dragon blocked the blooming water divine thunder. However, this divine thunder's awesome power made Yizhen greatly shocked. The sea dragon scattered with a boom, unexpectedly dispersing. No way you are grabbing that. The black dragon armor girl sneered, her sharp claws grabbing at Su Xing. The black dragon armor shirt girl showed a cruel smile, as if she already saw the claw tear apart Su Xing, her razor-like 5 fingers glinting. Who would have thought would raise a single fist, sending an intense impetus. Those 5 claws grabbed Su Xing's fist, but no scene of it being ground to dust appeared. Su Xing lowered his waist, raised his fist, gathered his strength, and boom. The young girl revealed a trace of astonishment. She did not anticipate that Su Xing's boxing would be this powerful, unexpectedly slightly retreating when her arm went numb. This little bit of a retreat gave Su Xing his chance. He spared no effort and rose, one foot stepping on the girl's shoulder, using her as an anchor. His star energy took in the blue wave's heavenly clear damask, and he also urgently did not let go of the heavenly spirit chest afterwards. Currently, the forward star Tong Hua's crimson star enveloped the holy lord of draconic demon, rendering him incapable of movement. He could only stare blankly as Su Xing stole his spoils of war. Courting death. As if the girl was humiliated, she was completely red in the face from anger. She wildly turned around, her long hair demonically fluttering, her 5 claws releasing a terrible noise. The twinkling of the 2 shining stars seemingly was like an eye of hell, brimming with a terrifying feeling. This claw went over, and Su Xing absolutely would die, without doubt. Just at this moment, a maid's figure flew out, making a circle with the yin-yang on her hands combined, blocking in front of Su Xing. One of her 2 fists was still while the other moved. Time seemingly followed Yan Qing's movements, and although the yin-yang Pisces fists were only 1 star, how could the heavenly star's 1 star be inferior to the counterpart's 2 star? In the instant her fists parted and came together, streams of air carried everything away.
Boom.
The girl's face changed, violently spitting a mouthful of blood. She had been beat back by a punch. Yizhen did not stop in the slightest. Do not see her as a person who tried her hardest to not offend anyone, but as someone who was absolutely devoted. For injuring her young master, she would not let anyone go. The skillful star's figure flit by, her 2 fists crushing the other. It really was air swallowing the mountains and rivers, the 5 sacred mountains pressuring from above. It was just that the people present were far from being limited to that girl alone. Several water swords soared the seas and shot over, emerging from the ocean just like dragons, attacking Yan Qing. Yizhen could only stop and then smash the dragon with a fist. The gloomy girl found an opportunity and wanted to get there in 1 step. An evil wind whistled on the demonic claw, with bursts of ghostly bawling. The 5 claws in an instant became infernal malicious spirits, a black density that diffused. The girl coldly shouted, her demonic claws stretching out. From the countless demons forming a black claw, they immediately rushed out and grabbed Yizhen. The talon tips were sharp, the unblockable black chi wishing to swallow Yizhen's energy clean. Yellow rank style, Purgatory's soul fragmenting claw. 2 boom. A purple-colored thunder light exploded with a bang. Minga, 3 come back. From her ears she heard a woman's shout. The pupils of the black-haired Minger filled with hatred, but she nevertheless did not dare stay. Hastily leaving the attack area, by lucky coincidence, at this moment, a figure appeared at the place where she stood. Su Xing thought, what a pity, waved his hand and blocked with the earth shield. A water dragon slammed onto the earth shield. The mighty power shook Su Xing enough that he nearly spat blood. Little E. Su Xing anxiously looked over Yizhen. Yizhen shook her head. Luckily, her star energy dispersed the black ghost chi on her body, but her complexion was slightly wan. Surprisingly, it was the yellow rank style utilized by a 2-star destined weapon. Its power was not that simple. 5 chief demons' infernal devil claws. Correct star demon king of chaos Fan Rui. 5. Su Xing lowered his voice, again shooting a glance at the girl standing to the side on the sea, as if she was treading on stable land. Her good looks were alluring, yet her expression showed an abnormal grandeur. She was truly terrifying, especially that white knight dragon carving lance. The star magic it used simply made people feel frightened. longevity star river dragon Yizhen. He actually is a holy lord of draconic demon, and not just a name only, a river dragon and a demon king of chaos. Truly somewhat of a thorny problem. At present, he only had Yizhen at his side, and the holy lord of draconic demon before him had a cultivation that was not only super high, the secret arts and cultivation methods he had were also extremely superior. The current him simply did not have even a bit of a chance at success. Things were completely terrible. 6. Yin Yang Pisces Fists, skillful star wanderer, Yanqing, the holy lord of draconic demon revealed a trace of astonishment when he saw that indifferent maid. He was immediately ecstatic. Ha ha, ha ha. This holy lord indeed is lucky, unexpectedly encountering Yanqing's star master. Legend has it that this skillful star is accomplished and well-educated, proficient in all manners of verse, song, and poetic essay. To be her master, it cannot be possible without dipping yourself in ink. Seeing as how your cultivation is merely so, you are quite capable? The holy lord of draconic demon already sized Su Xing up with an expression of looking at spoils of war, completely not putting this nebula late-stage star master in his eyes. And how was the skillful star? The river dragon was sufficient to sort her out. Su Xing also knew things were grave. The river dragon Yizhen was an overlord on the seas, and she was a powerful star general that cultivated both martial arts and magic, especially when they were on the sea that the river dragon flipped over. Forget that it was Yanqing, perhaps not any of the heavenly stars were an opponent. Furthermore, her master's cultivation was unexpectedly this terrifying at galaxy middle stage. Young master, allow Ming'er to dismember him to 10,000 pieces. The demon king of chaos Fan Ming had been baffled by Su Xing's fist just now, and her expression was extremely ugly. That 5 chief demons' infernal devil claws demonic spirits lingered, beginning to become restless. One who has contracted 2 star generals. I've actually finally seen it. Su Xing said. No need to envy this holy lord. This round of star duels naturally is something in this holy lord's bag. The kind of supporting characters, such as yourselves, should obediently wash clean your necks. The holy lord of draconic demons was egotistical, without doubt, gesturing with his hand. The river dragon Li Xiangfei suddenly held up her white knight dragon carving lance. The lance broke the water's surface, then executed a star magic. The seawater was like 10,000 stampeding horses. The waves were several zhang tall, frantically rolling over. Master, careful. Yizhen's figure dropped like a swallow, agilely sweeping past. Her figure suddenly flashed, then pierced through the seawater and instantly arrived right in front of Li Xiangfei. Her 2 warm and cold fists moved about, the shadow of her fists dazzling. It was that swallow flash Samsara. The river dragon blocked with her lance, and the seawater then condensed onto her skin to act as a shield. The world's highest excellence is like water, and the remaining power of every one of Yanqing's punches was absorbed by the seawater. The maid's figure wandered about Li Xiangfei's whole body at high speed, her shadows appearing alternately. Ming'er, that Yanqing is not easy to face. Go help Xiangfei. The holy lord of draconic demon coldly said. The demon king of chaos Fan Ming indignantly glanced at Su Xing and then went to Yizhen to provide assistance. Although the longevity star's rank was above Yanqing's and her magic energy on the seas had no equal, in true close quarters martial strength, especially boxing with the skillful star before her, even she knew this was grim. Besides that, Yizhen's star weapon was only 1 star, so it was very difficult for her to occupy the advantage in close quarters against Yanqing. Yanqing, watch this great dance. 7. Fan Ming shouted, the 5 chief demons' infernal devil claws tearing. Yanqing engaged 2 star generals in combat at the same time. Su Xing nevertheless had no way to back her up as a single biggest trouble was in front of him. Being able to see this holy lord who possesses 2 star generals before your death, you should be satisfied. The holy lord of draconic demon hooked his lips into a crooked smile. 2 star generals already makes you this pleased with yourself? Su Xing chuckled. The imposing air he exuded was actually insufficient to make Su Xing feel afraid. If he knew Su Xing had 5, it was unknown what expression he would have. What? You think that by relying on Yanqing you can defeat 2-star generals? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon laughed loudly. He narrowed his eyes. Can that arm of yours really be used? Su Xing shivered. This Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's vision was sinister. Just now, although one fist was able to occupy the winning position in handling the Demon King of Chaos Fan Dui just now, this Fan Rui's 2-star destined weapon added to her master being Galaxy Middle Stage indeed made Su Xing suffer. That punch disintegrated his own bones. Won't you know if you try it? Pretentious. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon did not see the panic and dread that appeared on Su Xing presently. Though extremely angry, he smiled. He coldly spat out these 4 syllables, a cold light in his eyes. But just at the instant the last syllable left his mouth, he suddenly spouted out a black light. After blurting out this black light, it exploded with nothing left in an instant. Soon after, Russell, disappearing without a trace. Seeing this scene, a grave look flashed across Su Xing's face. Without thinking, he opened his mouth and simultaneously spat out more than a dozen rock-piercing water droplets. The rock-piercing water droplets that passed through the purple cheese nurturing were far more powerful than the drops of the Heavenly River Sword School. The more than dozen rock-piercing water droplets lazily flashed, scattering. The next moment, the black light suddenly appeared right in front of Su Xing, even-handedly meeting the rock-piercing water droplets, releasing an oppressive noise. Su Xing's expression slightly changed, for the several dozen rock-piercing water droplets unexpectedly were unable to match the black light the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon spat out. The power of the collision immediately sent Su Xing flying several zhang away. This Galaxy Middle Stage's cultivation was not like the average cultivators, as expected. Only at this time did Su Xing clearly see that the black light was a several zhang-sized peculiar pointed cone. Its entire body was a solemn black, glittering like frost and snow, talisman script twisting. It even released a monstrous crackling sound. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon also was stunned. He did not expect his own galaxy high-grade artifact, Lethal All 8, to surprisingly be unable to obtain a result in battle. He had originally believed this abruptness was sufficient to strike through his opponent. Afterwards, what remained was to slaughter him, enjoying that despairing expression begging for forgiveness. Su Xing's abilities exceeded his expectations. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's face went cold, and he controlled the all to continue its attack. Su Xing did not think much as he linked his 10 fingers together. 10 purple thunderlights like sharp claws simultaneously shot off his hands, and a purple thunder dragon capture. 9 grabbed hold of the black light, tightly wrapping the all. The blooming water divine thunder was a 5 elements astonishing thunder, and it had been refined by this type of rare cultivation method, the purple transforming chi. Its might was unlike the ordinary, and the purple thunder light tightly grasped the lethal all, not letting it have any room to move. Su Xing did not dare attempt to let this type of terrifying high-speed thing get away. The purple thunder's ferocious stored strength struck, and Su Xing then joined his hands together. The surging purple thunder transformed into an immense python that bit down on the lethal all. Immediately afterwards, Su Xing raised the nebula magic weapon Heaven Sword. The purple python wrapped around this magic weapon, and making a continuous hissing noise, it hacked at the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. The space seemingly was ripped apart, the pressure it gave off enough to make people's complexions change. He did not expect his own attack would not have an effect against the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. He only showed a trace of a surprised expression. Nebula magic weapon? Somewhat advantageous. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was secretly startled, but he also was a person who went through many aspects of the world. Although the mad thunder purple python added to this magic weapon of Su Xing's was able to terrify people, he nevertheless calmly joined his hands. This banner was approximately 3 to 4 inches long. A black light twinkled, its spiritual influence menacing. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon shook the banner, and countless black clouds and mist all at once gushed out, surrounding the attacking purple thunder python. The powerful purple thunder unexpectedly was seemingly digested by this black cloud. In addition, the nebula magic weapon struggled with all its might under the black cloud, its chopping seemingly like it had fallen into a swamp, continuously struggling. Not good. Su Xing's divine intent was jolted, and he hastily wanted to recall the heaven sword. But that black cloud was increasingly large, and in the blink of an eye, the heaven sword was completely submerged. Star cultivators and their own artifacts possessed a divine intent link control. If the artifact suffered damage, the star cultivator also would exhibit injuries. A piercing pain, disgusting, and an ice-cold feeling in his limbs attacked his whole body. Su Xing then knew that the nebula magic weapon Heaven Sword unexpectedly was unable to be maintained. Taste the might of this Holy Lord's corrupting spirit banner. 10. Watch how this Holy Lord torments you to death. The defense of the highest good is like water exhibited a crumbling momentum under Yan Qing's swift and fierce boxing. Those pupils of the river dragon Li Xiangfei that were like deep waters at last showed a trace of surprise. Yan Qing's offensive that was this violent had rather greatly exceeded her expectations. In the midst of that boxing, fast as a torrential rain, lifting astral winds, each was caused a jolt. If it was not for the river dragon's body being on the sea, the star magic water's defenses being superb there, then it was hard to say what would happen if she were to step off from there. The pinwheel-like attack continuously hit upon the water screen surrounding Li Xiangfei's body. The immense power gave rise to a twisted posture, releasing an ear-piercing hua-hua noise. Yan Qing knew the frightening aspects of the Star Master in front of her, also doing all she could to dispatch the opposing Star General in the opening moments to ease the pressure on Su Xing. Under this sort of serial strikes, the river dragon Li Xiangfei maintained the indifference on her face as before. Her defenses had also surpassed Yan Yizhen's imagination. Although she could still rely on the star magic to partially resist the assault, she nevertheless completely lost the opportunity to counterattack. Being battered in unbroken succession, the surrounding ocean exploded into layers and layers of waves under Yan Yizhen's boxing, the attacks not halting in the slightest. What Yan Yizhen waited for was an opportunity. To the skillful star's continuous strikes amidst wrestling that was brought to the pinnacle of perfection, she truly was like a fish back in water at this moment. The attacks that her hands and feet released were like rain. The repeated care on Li Xiangfei's body then tore apart her water screen defense. The woman's expression already began to grow grim. Her eyes then revealed a dignified brilliance, and her entire body tightly curled up. The white night dragon carving lance continuously fluttered, taking in seawater to resist the attack. Her entire body threw up a deep blue light, no longer considering the possibility of a counterattack. She could only hope to defend until that moment Yan Yizhen was powerless. Her complexion was still flat while Yan Yizhen's assault continued to be uninterrupted when she coldly chuckled very softly. Her figure once again flit by in the air, already arriving above her. Through the force of her rotation, from above to below, she planted the splits ruthlessly against her back. Bang! A massive noise was released. The terrifying power was briefly like a tide as it engulfed everything. Li Xiangfei grunted, and her body floated. In an instant, she unexpectedly recoiled backwards several zhang. As if her figure was completely outside the influence of time and space, she showed a strange presence. Yan Qing's fist merely struck empty space futilely, and afterwards, the woman stabbed the white dragon carving lance into the ocean. On the sea surface, she used an instant escape technique, breaking away from Yan Yizhen's pressure. Yan Yizhen wanted to pursue and attack, but at this moment, Fan Ming came attacking. Yan Qing, watch this great dance. The demon king of chaos Fan Ming angrily shouted. The 5 chief demons' infernal devil claws instantly attacking. She already arrived in front of Yan Yizhen, and leaning her body, the sharp claws attacked with all their might. The 5 chief demons' infernal devil claws bound starving demon spirits. A black wind twisted with the sound of ghostly howls entering the ear. A sharp hissing that ripped the atmosphere made people unable to help but cover the airs. The correct star demon king of chaos Fan Rue also was similarly a martial magic dual cultivating star general. One claw went down, and a dark wind broke a whistle, a star magic attack. Yizhen's arms blocked, and there was the sound of flesh tearing. A wound deep enough to show bone was slashed down from her shoulder. The demon king of chaos Fan Ming's claw made Yizhen sustain injury. Her vermilion pupils went cold, and Yizhen's footwork moved as if she swept dead leaves, heavily kicking away the close Fan Ming. Bang! The air suddenly transmitted an enormous noise. The ranked 26th longevity star River Dragon's high speed instantly advanced to the limit. Her entire figure brought about a mirage. She simply was unable to be seen clearly, and unexpectedly, she was 10,000 techniques realm. When she found out the White Knight Dragon Carving Lance could not pose too great a danger to Yizhen, Li Xiangfei instantly transformed the White Knight Dragon Carving Lance into the White Knight Dragon Carving Sword. Raising the sword and slashing, this was exactly the prelude to the River Dragon's martial force attack. The sound of a whistling wind pervaded the sky, as if it even wanted to tear open space. Yizhen was grim. She crossed her fists, as if holding a taiji. The girl was very clear of the terrors of the river dragon. The sea dragon overflowed the heavens, becoming a helping hand to the river dragon. Its speed was very swift, and this sword slashed upon Yizhen's fists. The yin-yang Pisces resisted for a moment and were then torn apart. After all, her master was already cultivating Galaxy Middle Stage, so the star energy she had also was far more powerful than the skillful stars. Yizhen was instantly struck broken. The ocean exploded with a tremendous sound. Yizhen's entire person was already struck by an immense power, and that power was so great that the maid completely was incapable of withstanding it. Even the groans the bones in her whole body released could be heard. Her entire person already had been shot out far away, like a cannonball. Minger, you go help young master. This Fei alone can handle Yanqing. The river dragon yelled. The heavenly stars all had their own pride, and this was even the location Li Jun liked the most. This pride and confidence did not want to have a second person interfering. The demon king of chaos Fan Ming nodded. That pair of cold vermilion eyes of Yizhen's suddenly flashed a chilling light. As the girl flew upside down, she abruptly lifted herself, dodging away from Li Jun's lifting sea dragon. Her figure seemed to blink, stopping the demon king of chaos Fan Ming. Yizhen was very clear that if she let her and that holy lord of draconic demon pincer attack Su Xing definitely would have no chance. Don't think that you can harm master. Yizhen fiercely shouted suddenly, a palm smashing Fan Ming's black dragon armor to pieces, her right palm's flames seemingly carved onto the girl's body. The power was like a madly rushing river, instantly shaking the palm several hundred times. Fan Ming's black dragon armor suddenly depressed with a deep palm-shaped bloody hole. Her thigh's blood sprayed out from that hole, as if there was no tomorrow. 2. The fresh red mist of blood instantly covered the sky, seemingly raining a slight drizzle. You are courting death. The demon king of chaos shrieked. Star energy protected her body, and the 5 chief demons' infernal devil claws simultaneously grabbed at Yizhen. The hurricane-like 5 claws black light, just like an immense beast biting down, also tore open 5 deep gashes on Yizhen that showed bone, spraying blood. The 2-star heavenly weapon claws were terrifying, the acute pain nearly making Yizhen pass out. The maid resolutely restrained that painful feeling. This move of the demon king of chaos was extremely powerful, and that type of frightening purgatory-like energy violently came pouring into her body. It wantonly destroyed her body, nerves, and internal organs. It looked as if this wound was not large, but it nevertheless was very painful. It made Yizhen's brow tightly wrinkle, her teeth drawing blood. And the reason why she did not scream out was that she merely wanted the fatal moment where she used the other cold palm at the same time, her palm scraping past empty space. A frigid intent swept over Fan Ming's skin, and this palm's cold went through her whole body and 4 limbs. Fan Ming suddenly felt her entire body turn ice cold, a flame and chill mutually alternating, colliding inside her body. Her internal organs seemed to be roasting yet also freezing. This cold and hot directly broke Fan Ming's star energy, also making the girl vomit a mouthful of blood, screaming as she fell over. "Little Sister Minger, Yanqing, don't think you can be impudent in front of this fae," the river dragon shouted, slashing with her sword. Unaware of when it stopped, the sea breeze at this moment suddenly was like a demon released from its cage. Roaring open teeth bit at Yizhen. Taking advantage of the dissipated sea winds, Li Xiangfei hastily joined her empty hands, the sea waters then held up by Fan Ming. The girl had difficulty enduring the pain, her face ice cold for an instant, then flaming hot, as if in a struggle. Yellow rank boxing. Yang Palm. Li Xiangfei's expression sank. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons saw and immediately imparted star energy. Only this made Fan Ming be much more at ease. After the sea wind retreated, Yizhen's maid skirt was utterly torn, her whole body's flesh bruised and battered, her corolla in pieces, covered in blood. However, that indifferent expression still, as before, was proud without falling, making people stunned. What a loyal and righteous Yanqing of heaven and earth! The river dragon shivered. Yizhen went all out to hold back 2 star generals while keeping Su Xing in her sight. In a star duel between star masters, anyone with even a bit of brain knew that the best solution was to kill the star general's contractor. With this, stronger star generals would also lose much of their vitality. This was also somewhat of a reason that very prideful star generals refused to sign contracts. To them, a contractor was a dangerous double-edged sword. In the star duels, killing the contractor was practically the mainstream view. Su Xing understood this point, as did the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon possessed 2 incredible star generals. If he and Yizhen contended for a long time, they in the end would necessarily suffer disaster, so ever since the beginning, Su Xing wanted to get rid of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. And how could the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon not also think like this? The lethal all at the start not taking Su Xing's life already made him very surprised, and he also did not dare to underestimate that purple blooming water divine thunder. Then he brought out the powerful Galaxy, Supreme Grade Artifact Corrupting Spirit Banner. Seeing the Heaven Sword in imminent danger before his eyes, Su Xing's left shoulder shook along. The Earth's shield set in front of him, releasing a splashing silver light. The silver light was like a cold star, and the black clouds dueled with the silver light. These 2 ancient lost treasure originally were one in body, and with this, the Heaven Sword inside the filthy cloud immediately erupted in silver light, wildly tearing it open. The black clouds were cut open with a hiss. When the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon saw this, he immediately pinched his fingers into a seal, gathering his star energy and making the black clouds surge once again. The Heaven Sword and Earth Shield dueled against the Corrupting Spirit Banner. The originally prideful Holy Lord of Draconic Demons' smile gradually disappeared. He was amazed to discover the only Nebula late-stage cultivator fighting with his all in front of him, unexpectedly, did not lose out to him. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon originally thought he could very easily subdue these 2 magic treasures. Su Xing also strenuously supported himself. He had only just finished refining the clinging fire domain sword not long ago, and his abundant star energy was far from its peak. He slowly felt difficulty, as this Holy Lord of Draconic Demon that contracted 2 star generals was powerful as expected. The filthy black cloud and the silver light chopped at each other. The 2 simultaneously jolted, vomiting blood. Bang! An explosion. The black cloud suddenly disintegrated, and the Corrupting Spirit Banner ripped apart with a clatter. It was unexpectedly destroyed. This Holy Lord's corrupting spirit banner. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon yelled. Su Xing resisted with great difficulty, the blood bubbling in his throat. Nevertheless, though he did not intend to destroy his opponent's artifact, he was still happy. His own nebula magic weapons were also cut down by the corrupting spirit banner. The spiritual power on the sword was completely gone, its light dim, just like it was destroyed. Apparently, the skill of you, who could contract the skillful star, is not small. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon showed an evil grin. He did not anticipate by far that this mere nebula late-stage Star Master could surprisingly destroy his supreme-grade artifact. Although he had also destroyed one of the opponent's nebula magic weapons, in the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's eyes, this simply was not worth mention. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was also aware of Su Xing's plan. Now, between the two Star Masters, this had seemingly become the pivotal point. However, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was far unlike that task of confronting a great enemy like Su Xing was. His expression grim, Su Xing was but the skillful star's contractor, nothing more. Regarding his cultivation that fell short of his own, his star energy that fell short of his own, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon also believed that his own artifacts and abilities far surpassed his opponent's. Besides, for him to lose when he had two star generals was an utter joke. In the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's eyes, Su Xing was merely struggling on his deathbed. However, he had the purple star-grade Liangshan outlaw token on him, which was a headache of an escape tool. Thus, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon also waited for an opportunity to act. Watch this Holy Lord seize your flesh as a sacrifice. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon sneered. Flinging his sleeves, 19 black flying swords instantly violently rushed forth. These swords were pitch black, like ink, without the slightest blemish. The recessed sword inscriptions on the swords were deep, darker than even darkness. These swords endlessly wailed when they appeared, like devils and fiends bearing their fangs. Life Cast Sword Chant. Su Xing squeezed his hands into a seal. The Life Cast Sword Chant was a star cultivator's most powerful ability, its power comparable to a magic weapon. At that time in the Void Liangshan, Su Xing thoroughly comprehended the might of Xiao Hanyan's 72 Outer Void Flying Immortal Sword. At that time, the girl had not yet used a sword array on him and already made him somewhat flustered that he did not block it, and the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's sword chant seemed to be even more terrifying. The sword's body leaked a meandering black light, superimposing specters, the ghost Chi Sinister. Do you still have the skill to block this Holy Lord's 9 Phantasms, 10 Banes capital demon sword? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon disdainfully said, his expression already sentencing Su Xing to death. His 2 hands quickly flew through hand seals. Star energy excited upon the sword, and the 19 black flying swords instantly swayed briefly. Each turned into 76 black shadows, covering the sky and earth as they madly rushed at Su Xing. Within the forbiddance of the underworld prison banner, Su Xing currently was in the so-called no door to heaven and no road to hell. Su Xing promptly raised the earth shield, and this nebula magic weapon faced the wind and swelled. Silver light glimmered and surrounded Su Xing within. Su Xing did not dare to be the slightest bit careless, promptly using the purple star transforming chi and blooming water divine thunder. The purple star chi spilling from his whole body formed a purple cloud that rolled over and covered his entire body. The thunderlight sparkled, forming 3 layers of defense. Hiss, hiss. The sword sounds entered his ear. The 19 black demon swords leaned and shuffled as they shot onto the earth shield. Countless black lines violently opened on the earth shield, and the earth shield's silver light went dark in the blink of an eye. Not good. Su Xing joined his palms, using the blooming water divine thunder to the limit. A massive several zhong-sized thunderlight made the seawater crash with the sound of a thunderclap. Devour. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons finger beckoned, and the 9 Phantasms, 10 Banes capital demon sword specters combined into one, turning into a gigantic black sword. These demon swords of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon were all secret treasures of the underworld heavenly sect, a supreme grade sword chant. Because they were forged from Black Prison Devil Jade, 2 and Infernal Devouring Blood Essence, 3 fed with spirits and flesh, it could be rated as a uniquely terrifying weapon. Although the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon had only practiced to the 9 Phantasms, Phase 99 Phantasms, 10 Banes capital demon sword chants, it nearly could laugh in defiance of outstanding heroes. Forget about same-stage cultivators, even facing a supercluster early stage, as long as it did not encounter a mutually restraining thing, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon could fight one if he relied on 2-star generals. This was also why the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was so savage. He had the means to be savage. And so this was the reason he dared to stay in the Azure Dragon territory. In the Black Turtle territory, because the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon already fed the demon swords such that people were alarmed, leaving the underworld heavenly sect with no choice but to have him come to the Azure Dragon territory. When the demon sword appeared, the Nebula magic weapon Earth shield was split open in an instant by the demon sword, and that Su Xing's heart ached. This Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was too abnormal to destroy 2 Nebula magic weapons at this point in one day. The sword shadows flowed out. Su Xing's 5 elements astonishing thundermight as well, his blooming water divine thunder also somewhat had attained achievements. Furthermore, it had gone through the purple star transforming chi, freezing the 9 Phantasms, 10 Banes capital demon sword where it was. The purple thunderlight and the demon sword's edge shadow unceasingly wrapped in a struggle, intensely attacking each other. A purple blooming water, divine thunder? This was the first time the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon looked directly at the strange thunder technique Su Xing used. That divine thunder was like water, yet unlike it, showing a vast purple cloud. The lightning seemed to be a magic cloud, a purple immortal thunder? Your powers actually make this Holy Lord greatly broaden his own horizons. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's brows rose, however, only relying on such a shallow cultivation, you think that it can block this Holy Lord's demon sword. It really is a joke. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon hand seal pinched, and the demon's sword suddenly changed. The reason why a sword chant would become a star cultivator's strongest power was only because this used the star cultivator's own life as nourishment, linking together with the star cultivator into one. The 9 Phantasms, 10 Banes capital demon sword suddenly scattered, surrounding Su Xing from all directions, trapping him inside. The demon sword's shadows were illusory, genuine and fake, the real ones indistinguishable from the fake one. This made Su Xing unable to help but recall the Devil Sealing Sword, which was also this type, but incapable of killing an enemy. However, not only was the trapping ability of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's sword high quality, the baleful aura on the sword was even more extremely eager. Just this baleful aura was already cold like bone marrow. If it was an ordinary person, they would have already been completely eaten by the demon sword. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon clicked his tongue, his expression seemingly looking upon a dead man. You have made this Holy Lord use the 9 Phantasm sword array for the second time. And who is the first that made this Holy Lord use it? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon ruminated, engrossed. However, he did not worry about this. The magic sword became even more void sword shadows that tightly enclosed Su Xing. The surrounding space also was completely cut off under the disturbance of the demon swords. In other words, Su Xing currently was a trapped animal. Su Xing did not reply, the thoughts in his mind quickly whirling as he thought of countermeasures, for the blooming water divine thunder shrunk little by little. It was the one your Azure Dragon territory claimed to be the strongest star master. Yizhen unit seems to be this name. Truly a useless fellow. This Holy Lord only used it, and he could not bear it. The most interesting thing was that your strongest star master surprisingly contracted quite an incompetent star general. Truly, This holy lord does not understand what your Azure Dragon territory's definition of strongest is. The holy lord of Draconic Demon sneered. Master? Yizhen saw that Su Xing had been trapped by the demon swords, showing worry. A water ripple struck her back, and several dozen water dragons trapped Yizhen, endlessly attacking. Amidst these attacks, the river dragon Li Jun raised the White Knight dragon carving sword and violently attacked as if it was a tsunami, sending out a water dragon with each cut. Worry about yourself, Yanqing. Li Xiangfei shouted, already wanting to take revenge for her little sister. Yizhen blocked with her hands. The water dragon struck her body, shattering her bones. Moreover, the 9 Phantasms 10 Banes capital demon sword shadows already closed up tight. A twisting black space took form in Su Xing's surroundings. The space was like a deep pool, with the howls of souls. Astonishingly, it was the 9 Phantasms taking shape. That Yizhen Yuan actually used his strength alone to undo this Holy Lord's 9 Phantasms sword array. This Holy Lord wonders whether or not you have this qualification. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon narrowed his eyes. Raising a despicable smile, he unfolded his hand. The murky sword shadows suddenly drew themselves Su Xing to devour him. And contrary to the frightening shadows of the demon sword's void shadows, if the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon could see through the sword shadows, he would discover that the Su Xing inside was unexpectedly calm, without a trace of fluster. Seemingly, everything about this did not count as anything, and on the contrary, Su Xing lifted his right arm. Suddenly, those purple thunderlights all around condensed to a single point on his arm, covering it in a layer of faint purple qi. Has he given up resisting? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon jeered. These purple qi thunderlights fluctuated incessantly, gradually becoming dense. When it had become a deep purple magic cloud, Su Xing's face showed a serious expression. His whole right arm began to rapidly swell, and in the blink of an eye, it became 2-3 times as thick as it was before. A layer of glaring thunderlight even appeared on the surface, and under the purple cloud's envelopment, it seemed matchlessly dignified. At this time, Su Xing raised his head to stare at the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. His eyes had a cold light, and he coldly read break. Thus, he drew back his thick arm, and then suddenly spat out a purple ray of light from his palm. After firing, it was an immense thickness, several zhang large. Afterwards, a tearing sound was released. The light carried a long tail, sparkling as it flew in front of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. Like a sharp sword, its high speed made people incapable of responding. This was precisely the second immortal's magic of the blooming water Divine Thunder. Divine Thunder Dragon Slaying. 5. As it turned out, the 9 Phantasms 10 Banes capital demon sword had already twisted itself into a storm. Just when the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon watched with satisfaction for Su Xing's death, he suddenly found his own demon shadow sword array actually was slow and unwilling to advance. Suddenly torn open by a crack, that purple thunderlight was right in front of him in the blink of an eye. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's eyes flashed a cold light. The purple thunder slashed, crashed, and his body turned into black smoke. The black smoke was cut into 2 pieces, yet the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon unexpectedly was able to dodge away. Devil smoke shape-shifting escape. Su Xing thought, fuck, this guy really is abnormal. The Divine Thunder slays the dragon just now was an extremely powerful type of attack magic from the 5 Spirits Law. He condensed star energy to a single point to effect a breakthrough, but he did not expect the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon to avoid this sudden attack. Not getting rid of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon this moment, even being unable to cause him any injury, made Su Xing's star energy madly plummet. The black smoke again instantly reconstituted itself. The corner of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's mouth had blood, his face deathly pale. It actually was not at all without a result, as Su Xing thought. How can this be? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon pinched together a hand seal. He found that the demon's sword was simply stopped in his opponent's surroundings, as if something had scared it stiff. The sword array gradually was unable to make full use of itself. Without a better choice, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon could only put away the demon's sword suspending them before him. And then he finally understood what had happened. Su Xing's hand held a stone tablet, and the tablet released a golden radiance, surrounding his whole body within. These multicolored lights were dignified, divine, and serene. At first glance, Su Xing was just like an immortal Buddha descended, which surprisingly made people feel like bowing in worship.
What is that?
The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon shouted, stunned. It was the Devil's Suppressing Steel. Ever since he took care of the Ghost Cavalry King at Stone Tablet City and obtained this Devil's Suppressing Steel and the Ghost's God's Bane, Su Xing did not forget to refine them. The Ghost's God's Bane was categorized as a ghost weapon, so Su Xing simply had no way of controlling it and could only give up. However, this Devil-Suppressing Steel actually was a supreme-grade treasure, and Su Xing could use it. In the end, only after he had the Void Immortal's abode could he implant his divine intent, and he was already barely able to control it. The 9 Phantasms, 10 Banes capital demon sword that devoured so much flesh and spirits, and that now saw the Devil-Suppressing Steel was just like a rat that spotted a cat. This time, the sword chant you have the most pride in is useless, then? It seems we are once again on the same line. Su Xing coldly grinned. Forget his shivering appearance, his heart was actually secretly hurting. The magic energy on this Devil-Suppressing Steel was rapidly draining. He had refined it only a bit, and the power stored inside was used just like this. Originally, Su Xing had wanted to take the opportunity to use it on the purple star-grade birth outline, but now it seemed that things could not be helped. The next time he wanted to show off the Devil-Suppressing Steel's power, he would need at least several months' time of cultivating it in order for it to work. You think such can make this Holy Lord not know what to do with you, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon sneered, bringing out an astral gemstone. Urging his star energy, countless black ants flocked out from the astral gemstone. Instantly, they became an enormous black cloud that covered the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's whole body. It was in excess of 10 zhong wide, and it seemed this influence would frighten people to the extreme. What bug was this? Su Xing's expression changed. This Holy Lord of Draconic Demon truly was abnormal. Soul-devouring bug. Su Xing saw from that mountain and sea bug record 2 of Insuin's a list of odd insects, which had an introduction for it. The soul-devouring bug and essence-swallowing dragon were similar. It was just that the specialized in eating minds and divine sense as well as handling cultivators with powerful divine intense soul-devouring bug was an extremely frightening and deadly existence. The soul-devouring bugs were close to a black cloud, where normal swords and spears would have difficulty piercing through, and common water and fire were seen as nothing. However, controlling the soul-devouring bugs certainly not an easy matter. Because they originally could devour incorporeal divine intent, cultivators used divine intent and essence blood in vain to control them. Only cultivators that necessarily possessed extremely strong demonic intents could control them. This type of demonic intent was a type of, who else is there but me, despotism, a deterrent. Franticness made the soul-devouring bugs fear him. Otherwise, at an unfavorable position they would even eat the divine intent of the master they serve. Only naturally, this Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was a monster. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon inherited the demonic comprehension, 3 skill of the Demon King of Chaos. He possessed an excellent understanding of every sort of devil school cultivation method and acted as the one the heavenly underworld sect nurtured from youth to be a star master. From when he was little, he began to cultivate devil cults sinister and malicious 18-layer of each, cultivating layer by layer. An oppressive 20 years then created today's insufferably arrogant Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. This kind of tyranny would feel egotistical to others. No one was in his eyes, but to the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, this was power. A kind of destructive power. See how you die. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon sneered. Muttering in a low voice, the black smoke suddenly rushed forth. The towering soul-devouring bug army then buzzed, afterwards becoming an immense cloud of insects, violently rolling towards Su Xing. Using bugs to scare people? Su Xing saw this very terrifying bug cloud drop from the sky. Not only was he unafraid, on the contrary, after he snorted, he showed a bit of disdain. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon heard this, and was not angry, but amused. His counterpart seemed to consider the soul-devouring bugs as ordinary spirit bugs, which truly was bringing about his own doom. Presumably, when the swarm of bugs fell onto his body, that would be the time he would meet a violent death. At that time, the cultivator's divine intent would have been eaten clean, and he would be no different from a cripple. Su Xing released a bolt of blooming water divine thunder, which sprayed out but brought about no results. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was even more pleased with himself. Su Xing sneered on the inside. When the bug cloud came to cover him, he suddenly clenched his empty fist, and a scarlet sword appeared in his hand. This double-edged sword's red light was dazzling, and the flame veins on the sword were vividly displayed. In the moment it appeared, the space around Su Xing's whole body seemed to ignite, becoming incomparably red-hot. That is, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was blank. Go! Su Xing saw the cloud of bugs cover from above, just on the verge, and the flames of the astral treasure clinging Fire Star Domain sword in his hand suddenly appeared. Then, countless earthly fire snakes erupted out from the sword's edge and veins. Shooting into the cloud of bugs converging from every direction, it was like a surging dragon rolling in the sky. Soon after, popping sounds became a layer of countless bug corpses. Amidst the droning noise, they had been burnt to ash by the flames, without leaving a bit of slag. These flames actually seemed to be like the nemesis of the soul-devouring bugs. The flying bugs originally were difficult to injure with magic weapons, and defeated by these flames, they simply had no way to resist in the slightest. Su Xing also had to thank Insuen for that mountain and sea bug record, for Su Xing knew that though the soul-devouring bugs looked terrifying, they actually had a weak point, which was that they feared clinging fire. Fortunately, the clinging Fire Star Domain sword was exactly good in such situations. When the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon witnessed the scene, he naturally was startled and furious to the extreme. His mouth hastily released a sharp cry. The bug swarm heard it and immediately turned around to fly and escape. How could Su Xing let go of the chance to burn clean away these soul-devouring bugs? Although the clinging Fire Star Domain sword's clinging fire was powerful, one use nearly exhausted his star energy. How would there be such a good opportunity the next time? Throwing the clinging Fire Star Domain sword, the sword became countless threads that shot over and engulfed the bug swarm. Large quantities of the flying bugs continued to burn to ashes within the flames. Fuck your ancestors! The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was terrified, roaring. These soul-devouring bugs were painstakingly cultivated with enormous and meticulous care. Nurturing them for more than 10 years, only with great difficulty did he have more than 50,000 to have the current scale. Burnt down like this, losing more than 10,000 soul-devouring bugs, to tell the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon to not have any grief when he returned to the sect, perhaps there would be no good fruit to eat. The river dragon Li Jun heard her master scream. Raising her head, she then saw the raging flames burning the sky. Immediately, she knew what had occurred and pointed the White Knight dragon carving sword without the slightest hesitation. Between the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon and Su Xing, the sea surface sprayed 100-meter tsunami. This tsunami's grandeur was extremely fierce, and although the clinging fire was ferocious, the river dragon's star magic was not easy to underestimate. She wanted to fight for time for her master to call back the soul-devouring bugs. Hey! Yizhen saw this and did not hesitate to attack with a fist. Although she was already scarred all over, this fist went down with ample, imposing air. But this place was the Baosi, the longevity star river dragon's domain. The fierce dragon had not passed the river, and the hungry tiger had not descended the mountain. Star magic activated, and several seawater dragon shapes then pounced at Yizhen. However, this was a star magic used under military force circumstances. The attacking sea dragon was far from being powerful enough. The maid staked all of her strength, her agile movements avoiding these star magics, arriving in front of Li Xiangfei in the blink of an eye. This was a magic energy star general's greatest weakness. They feared others getting close.
Bang!
Li Xiangfei's pupils dilated. Incredibly, there was someone who could attack her on the seas, her body falling backwards 100 paces. The maid got there in one step when, Yanqing, a shadow flashed and intercepted in front of her. The recovered demon king of chaos Fan Ming's sharp claws tore, and there was another bone-splitting wound. Blood directly splashed. Hey! Li Xiangfei seized the chance to toss her sword, and the white knight dragon carving sword became a water dragon that flashed over. The slash pierced through Yizhen's chest. The maid groaned. Yanqing! Fan Ming once again coldly shouted. The demon king of chaos 5 chief demons infernal devil claws tore over, and the river dragon Li Xiangfei also used her star magic. With the support of a galaxy stage master's powerful star energy, Li Xiangfei could use it without stopping. Yizhen flipped and sweep-kicked Fan Ming away. But in the next second, the ocean surface that Yizhen stood on suddenly gave rise to a 5-zhang-wide vacuous hole. The seawater rolled towards the surroundings, completely enclosing Yizhen within. The lifted tsunami transformed into 10,000 galloping horses, so imposing that it truly frightened people. Yanqing, go die! Li Xiangfei shouted. Yellow, rank magic. Iron hooves treading mountains and rivers. 5. Yizhen raised her head and saw all outlets had been sealed. If this went any further, at the very least, it would make Yizhen completely lose her fighting capabilities. Although the bodies of star generals were indestructible, this type of certain death technique was sufficient to make star generals handicapped for a period of time. Her vermilion pupils still treated fear with contempt. Su Xing saw this and could only give up his pursuit and kill of the soul-devouring bugs as he took out and threw a jade annulus. The profound star barrier fell above Yizhen, and its warm light overflowed, covering the maid's body, stunning Yizhen. Boom! The tsunami completely engulfed Yizhen, yet the profound star barrier's radiance that was actually on the verge of collapse helped her escape a calamity. Su Xing followed up by using the innate bagua to escape. Flashing to Yizhen's side, at this time, Fan Ming's claw attacked. Su Xing slashed with a clinging fire star domain sword, and a burst of clinging fire forced the girl back with a cut. Immediately afterwards, he held the maid in his arms and flew backwards. You bastard son of a bitch. Do you not know how much meticulous care this holy lord needed to nurture the soul-devouring bugs? The holy lord of draconic demons' face was unsightly to the extreme. Watching helplessly as Su Xing swallowed him whole, he originally thought this would be a not in the least suspenseful battle, but what he did not expect was that his counterpart unexpectedly subdued his powers repeatedly. First of all, his supreme-grade galaxy artifact being broken did not need mentioning. Then, the 9 Phantasms 10 Banes capital demon sword he had the most confidence in was rendered completely motionless by that magical stone steel. Now, it was his most prided trump card soul-devouring bugs that not only were unable to kill him, they even sustained disastrous casualties instead. Truly too motherfucking inconceivable. To hell with it, just from where did this nebula cultivator pop out so many magic weapons? Was Yizhen Yuan not the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 Star Master? This even more hardened the Holy Lord of Draconic Demons' determination to throttle Su Xing. If he was currently this frightening at Nebula stage, should he master a sword chant, heaven knew what other things could be even more beyond expectations. He certainly would not think that even if it was the sword chant heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5 elements sword that it would be sufficient to shake Liangshan. Young masters. The 2 star generals showed surprised expressions for the first time. Even when they faced Yizhen Yuan, they did not ever do this. Are you both fine? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon asked, concerned.
"And
Li Xiangfei raised the White Knight dragon carving lance as she stared at Su Xing and Yan Qing. This place was on the ocean, and the people that could injure the river dragon were few. She had only sustained light injuries, but the Demon King of Chaos Fanming was somewhat a little more serious. Still, the two were bound to still have some leeway. By contrast, the skillful star wanderer, Yan Qing already, was an arrow at the end of its path. Bruised all over her body, she needed to be supported by her master. This time, Fanming actually did not dare ridicule. 2-star generals handling 1-star general and their master that was but galaxy middle stage only taking up the high ground at this point already made them feel somewhat defeated. Kill them. Do not let them go. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon sneered, forming a hand seal. The underworld prison banner's black clouds overturned the heavens, its power slightly greater than before, all to prevent Su Xing from escaping. Having received the order their master issued, the 2-star generals each attacked Su Xing, young master. Quickly leaves. Yizhen wanted to break away from Su Xing to meet the enemy head-on. Su Xing actually ignored her, bringing her tight against his chest, not letting her leave. You must not show off your ability right now. Quickly returned to the star nest. As they spoke, the two women already attacked. Even if she were to return to the star nest, there was not time for this. Su Xing lifted the clinging fire star domain sword to face them. The laughable Nebula late-stage cultivator surprisingly wants to confront us. Fanming sneered, and a claw dashed forth. Originally, she thought she could easily grab hold of Su Xing, but Su Xing's performance was surprisingly nimble. Su Xing inherited the Majestic Star's combat skills and was not at all that resigned to his fate as they imagined. A streak of clinging fire burned and slashed its way over. Breaking open the two's pincer attack, Su Xing now held the devil-suppressing steel in his left hand while his right clenched the sword as a beauty was upon his chest. Fortunately, Li Jun and Fanming consumed too much energy engaging Yan Qing, and their present battle strength was greatly weakened. Regardless of whether it was speed, power, or body techniques, they did not show the standard a star general should have. Only with this could Su Xing barely contend against them. Otherwise, if he alone went to face 2-star generals in close combat, dying 100 times would not be enough. However, star generals in the end were star generals and Su Xing was still in a disadvantageous position. The 5 chief demons' infernal devil claws and the White Knight dragon carving sword repeatedly cut open wounds on his body, and before long, Su Xing's whole body already was flowing with blood. Su Xing was unconcerned as he confronted 2-star generals on one hand while considering escape options with the other. To defeat them now was nearly impossible to achieve. Yizhen saw this in her eyes, and a hard-to-understand complexity flashed through her apathetic vermilion pupils. Tightly clenching her 10 fingers, a crimson crossbow emerged. Don't forcibly use it. Su Xing softly blocked Yizhen, who wanted to use the 3 arrows lethal crossbow. This type of arrow magic that relied on the vitality of a star general was a burden too great for the current Yizhen, and the 3 arrows would not necessarily seize the advantage. Yizhen clenched tight the crossbow, without stowing it. After the ocean-flipping divine dragon passed again, Su Xing flew backwards 100 meters. At this time, his star energy finally was completely unable to bear anymore. The clinging fire star domain sword in his right hand and the devil-suppressing steel in his left gradually dimmed their lights. The Baosi was a deep black. Su Xing slightly narrowed his eyes. Right now, the sole solution was to depend on the profound star barrier to break open the underworld prison banner for Baidens, then use the chaotic tail escape to run away after sustaining a heavy injury. Let us see how you will escape this time. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, the River Dragon, and the Demon King of Chaos coldly stared at Su Xing. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon then raised 19 demon, sword chant. Just at this time, in a sudden instant, the underworld prison banner's Forbidance space was jolted. A white light appeared on a place on the Forbidance, and immediately afterwards, The white light was increasingly blinding, as if the sky had been ripped open.
Cassier.
The Forbiddance suddenly broke, and one underworld prison banner burned down in raging flames with practically nothing left. Fuck. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons' eyes saw another of his supreme-grade artifacts had been broken, extremely furious from the bottom of his heart.
Just what was happening today?
A star master of Galaxy Stage as he, with 2 contracted star generals, was unexpectedly sullen in all respects. They saw an immense white cloud appear in the sky, but perhaps it could not be called a cloud. It was a fierce beast with an entire body of fur like frost and like snow, and it hung suspended in the air without wings. A pair of almost transparent pupils gazed at everyone on the sea. On this white tiger were an additional 2 girls lying on their sides. A cold girl with long hair flowing like water was especially eye-catching. This completely unforeseen event made Su Xing and the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon were both stunned. Su Xing, by means of the broken Forbiddance, then retreated. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon threw the sword chant, and the 9 Phantasms 10 Banes capital demon sword became specters that filled the sky as they twisted towards Su Xing. He did not have the defense of the devil-suppressing steel this time, so at last, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon could see his excellent sword chance gain the advantage. It was just that he was made disappointed once more. Su Xing blocked it with the profound star barrier. The white light was like a river, neutralizing the sword chance attack. However, this 9 Phantasms 10 Banes capital demon sword was worthy of being called a supreme-grade demon sword. Continuously enduring 2 attacks, the profound star barrier split open a crack again. Just when the Holy Lord of Draconic Demons still wanted to attack, a sudden tiger's roar shook the ocean. This sound poured into their ears frighteningly, unexpectedly forcing the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon and his star generals to withdraw in succession. Overwhelmed with shock from his heart, the arrogant and despotic Holy Lord of Draconic Demon for the first time revealed astonishment, a star beast. The white and black unicorn tiger. Wu Song. Li Jun and Fan Rui each changed, as if facing a great enemy. Star beast? Wu Song, Su Xing was stunned, his hand hugging Yizhen even more tightly. Oh, little sister Wu Song, your reputation truly is far-reaching. You haven't even used your star weapon, yet they already know he. A charming voice sounded out from the tiger's back. This voice was somewhat familiar. When Su Xing stared, he was immediately stunned. The young girl who spoke was surprisingly the Shower he had once met long ago. Originally, she alone was able to compel 2 star generals, which made her incomparably difficult to forget for Su Xing. He did not expect that their next meeting would occur under this sort of situation. Humph. The woman known as Wu Song coldly snorted, sweeping her gaze. Her eyes were extremely cool and elegant, yet extremely charming, just like a deep starry sky, incomparably mysterious. Longevity star Li Jun, correct star Fan Rui. Wu Song slowly identified the names of the people below. Yanqing. When Wu Song saw the bruised all over Yanqing hugged by Su Xing onto his chest, especially when she saw that crimson crossbow, the surprise in her eyes was even more concentrated. Staring at Su Xing, she brimmed with bewilderment. Su Xing wanted to greet Shower, yet when he saw Shower wink at him, Su Xing understood tacitly what to do. Master? Yizhen weakly said. An acquaintance. Su Xing embraced Yizhen tightly, speaking softly. Yizhen felt a sort of never-before-experienced security from these wide shoulders. Softly moaning, she dissolved the crossbow. Wu Song, what are you doing? Is not the legendary Wu Song proud beyond compare? Unwilling to become involved with the star duels until the final juncture? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons said in a cold voice. The contractor of Wu Song of the previous generation of star duels really made her fame too great. Add on that legendary star beast, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon unexpectedly felt pressured, a minute pressure. Shower chuckled. We saw from Jingyang Ridge that a heavenly spirit grade chest fell here. We wanted to come rob and kill for it, and when we saw this place covered by black clouds. Little Sister Wusong was very curious, because a moment of curiosity broke his supreme-grade artifact. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon truly wanted to blow his top. Although he was arrogant, he knew how to take stock of the situation. The top-notch Star Master of the Black Turtle Territory naturally knew eternal savagery was to confront weaklings. We did not expect a star duel. Wow, and it is a Star Master with 2 Star Generals. Shower said in wonder. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons stuck out his chest, for this was something he was proud of. But Li Jun and Fan Rui were not that relaxed. Even if the ranked 26th longevity star was on her home turf, she felt pressure, especially looking at that white and black unicorn tiger. The 2 Star Generals already were somewhat mentally and physically exhausted. If they really were to continue to fight, how could they be Wusong's opponents? Elder sisters would not loot a burning house, would you? Li Xiangfei could only lower her figure, respectfully speaking. The 108 star of Maiden Mountain, especially the heavenly stars, had an absolute arrogance. This arrogance was displayed on fairness and above. A few exceptionally powerful, yet to contract martial force heavenly stars would not act out to kill their sisters. This was their pride, and it was a kind of belief that made others laugh. However, it was precisely this belief that made these heavenly stars even more transcendent. I have no interest in your star duel, Wusong coldly said. But we are very interested in the heavenly spirit chest. Which of you took it? Shower giggled. We cannot make a trip only to be empty-handed, right? The chest is with him. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon pointed at Su Xing. Oh, little sister Wusong. Did you see Yan Qing's 3 arrows lethal crossbow just now? Shower said. Her words left the Holy Lord of Draconic Demons group shaken. What? Yan Qing's legendary martial skill, the 3 arrows lethal crossbow, had appeared? The expression staring at Su Xing brimmed with disbelief and even deeper hatred. Wusong flatly replied. Although we won't interfere with a star duel, it is impossible for us to watch sisters massacre each other. Shower said. Little sister Wusong, you say something? Hearing these words, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon said, You wish to interfere? Wrong. Give the chest to me, and we will help you become rich through friendship. We are all sisters. Shower pointed at Su Xing, attractively winking at Su Xing. This girl, whose identity was unclear and mysterious, had a sort of powerful atmosphere. You think this Holy Lord fears you? How could the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon be resigned to let Su Xing go? This short of a battle let him feel Su Xing's terrifying potential. To be able to use his Nebula middle stage to contend against him for this long of a time, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon felt this was simply something from a fantasy story. It was necessary to strangle this type of opponent in the cradle. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon raised an arm, and the 19 demon swords attacked. Li Xiangfei and Fan Ming sensed their master's determination and also joined together to launch an assault. Roar! A tiger roar sounded over the Baosi. Descending in front of Su Xing in the blink of an eye, the white and black unicorn tiger's entire body erupted in snowlight, unexpectedly forcing the demon's swords to not dare get close. A cold and colorful noble frost demon lotus double-bladed sword appeared in her hand. Wusong coldly said, I very recently heard that there is a person of the Black Turtle Devil cults that began a killing spree in the Azure Dragon territory, who is using demon swords to feast on flesh and soul, who is fond of killing countless cultivators. It may be assumed that he is you, a trace of ice cold spread out. Shower smiled. For this sort of monster, Star Generals must enforce justice on the behalf of heaven. It would be better to help these 2 little sisters by removing them from the abyss of worldly suffering. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon changed, for he had drawn out their killing intent. As they spoke, a golden radiant weapon appeared in her hand. Wusong and Shower's figures flashed, and the white and black unicorn tiger simultaneously pounced. Young master, run, quickly. If they were on the sea beforehand, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demons still could have something of a battle. However, That duel with Su Xing consumed too much star energy, and his 2-star maidens were even more spent. Confronting the Wu Song with her star beast and that mysterious girl, the 3 people were practically completely without the strength to fight back. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon indeed cried blood in his heart. Looking at Su Xing, he truly was resentful to the extreme, throwing out a banner to stop them. The 2 stars Noble Frost Demonic Lotus easily cut to pieces this nebula high-grade artifact. How could the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon dare stay any longer? The 2-star maidens also saw the opportunity to enter the star nest, and the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon immediately escaped using the Devil's Smoke shapeshifting. Roar! The white and black unicorn tiger's 2 eyes released light. Its white figure flashed, even faster than the Devil's Smoke, and a paw grabbed hold of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon screamed, and he could only indignantly use the purple star token. Purple light flashed, and the jade pendant cracked. This Holy Lord fucks your ancestors. Wu Song, you will certainly regret letting this man live. You will certainly regret it. Wearing a heart filled with resentment, indignation, and anger, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon immediately became purple smoke that suddenly disappeared into the air. Su Xing slightly sighed, not expecting the insufferably arrogant Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's escape to unexpectedly be this sorry. The purple star jade pendant split open a crack, and even Su Xing felt pain for him. Roar! The white and black unicorn tiger turned its head, dropping in front of Su Xing and roared. That voice filled with noble aspiration and daring of this spirit beast shook Su Xing's body until it was nearly broken. Nevertheless, the hand embracing Yizhen was not loosened in the slightest. The Wu Song sitting on the white tiger looked at Su Xing pensively. Su Xing also looked the girl up and down. The Wu Song before him truly made him feel a type of incomparably frightening and dignified beauty. That flowing, graceful black hair, her resplendent and deep starry eyes, and her fair figure, she had a beauty that overthrew kingdoms, and it simply was as inconceivable as a dream. Is he your master? Wu Song opened her mouth to ask. Yizhen's expression flashed emotion before immediately resuming her apathetic appearance, her firm expression already answering. If you can repent before your servant, then do it so that your servant can see. Wu Song coldly glared at Su Xing in whatever aspect. I absolutely am harmless to man and beast. Su Xing surrendered. This cool and elegant woman honestly was too fierce. Wu Song raised her brows. Shower giggled with a pft. You indeed are really optimistic, yet you nearly lost your life just now. Qing, do you not want to return to the star nest to self-cultivate? Your injuries are heavy. Su Xing nodded. Only then did Yizhen enter the star nest. To be able to sign this skillful star, you truly are incredible. In any respects, Qing certainly is more difficult to contract than Lin Chong. Shower admiringly said. Lin Chong would not sign. That man who possesses Lin Chong definitely used some despicable method. Your servant shall make him regret it. Wu Song's tone was completely dense with killing intent. Su Xing widened his eyes, flabbergasted as he looked at Shower. The girl covered her mouth as she smiled, winking at him, as if saying, only you and I know the secret. Su Xing leaked cold sweat. How did this come about? He had apparently provoked a trouble even bigger than the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. And that sisters? Shower winked. Su Xing knew she was referring to Lin Mei. There were some things she needed to do, so she isn't here for the time being. Shower's eyes slightly widened, incredulous as she looked at Su Xing. You unexpectedly do not put her at your side? You truly are an interesting Star Master. This was actually the first time she had heard of a Star Master allowing his Star General to independently leave. Shower did not expect that you would surprisingly sign Qing. Truly, truly admirable. Have you interest in telling elder sister the inside story? It must be very interesting, hee hee. Su Xing helplessly looked at her, more like my little sister. You surprisingly want to let Shower be your little sister? Shower's eyes again widened. Within the Liangshan Maiden, Shower is indeed big enough to be the elder sister. You may follow the ranking order of your sisters, but in my eyes, you are still a little girl. Su Xing chuckled. You want to let Shower act as your little sister? You certainly are bold. No wonder you could sign Lin Chong. Shower covered her mouth, carrying a sort of disapproving smile. However, Shower is afraid you will not be able to enjoy that. Just as Su Xing wanted to speak, the Wusong to the side coldly interrupted to ask Shower, "What are you and he chatting about? We should leave."
Oh.
Shower turned her head. Little sister Wusong, elder sister, suddenly had an idea. How about we let Su Xing go together with us to plunder the purple star grade birth outline? Su Xing said, "Hey." Su Xing. Wusong pursed her thin red lips. Her expression was tranquil yet cold. Your servant shall not collaborate with a star master. But he is not an ordinary star master, though, Shower meaningfully said. Wusong clearly did not care for the profundity in Shower's words. Having the Harm Star Pilgrim join hands with a star master, this was something that would not happen in even a dream. All right, Shower helplessly replied. It was an arbitrary question anyways, and in the end, she kindly whispered a warning to Su Xing. Wusong is but a tigress. Do you know what Shower means?
N.
If she finds out I am that person, what will happen? Su Xing felt this was a thorny problem. That white and black unicorn tiger looked to be actually exceedingly swift and fierce. A 6th or 7th ranked demon beast would not provide Su Xing such great courage. Star beast? Neither did he know what the history of this was. She will kill you, without the slightest hesitation. Shower very seriously replied. Su Xing naturally knew that he currently was not an opponent for the cool and elegant woman before him. Just that white and black unicorn tiger was very difficult to settle. Why didn't you expose me? Lin Chong is not by your side, and neither does exposing you have any sense. Let alone, Shower's words changed the topic, mysteriously smiling. The star master that could sign Lin Chong is the first in a millennium. Shower always would have some expectations. Giggling, Shower rose high into the air and fell onto the white tiger. Wusong's jade brows slightly creased. What did you and he speak about? How are you two so close? Is little sister jealous? Shower teased. Wusong icily glanced at her, holding disdain for her humor. Finally, she glanced at Su Xing. Only then did she pat the white tiger. The white and black unicorn tiger's figure escaped. Like a streak of white light, it suddenly disappeared in front of his eyes, no longer wanting the previously mentioned heavenly spirit grade chest. Su Xing already knew from a glance that many cultivators were rushing here. No longer staying, he rode a sword and flew back towards flaming Eastern Island. Wusong. It seems she is a very dangerous woman, Su Xing thought. Su Xing did not hastily enter the sect. The river dragon Li Jun and Fan Rui's slashing weapons left his whole body bruised all over. Although these were all superficial wounds, if someone from the sect found out, this would not be easy to explain. Su Xing found a corner to first stop his bleeding, and then he used star energy to briefly stabilize himself. Changing into a new set of robes, only until he looked to be in his normal good health did he return to the Four Styles school. Little E, do you want to return to the Immortal's abode and let Suan help examine you? Su Xing asked with concern as he walked towards the bamboo house. No need to make little sister Suan worried. Yizhen's tone was indifferent, yet showed a trace of seriousness. Su Xing agreed, for he did not want to make Suan worried either. This birth outline plundering the birth outline this time certainly scared the cold sweat out of him. He did not expect that a place as remote as the flaming Eastern Island would attract such a powerful star master. Just a tiny bit more, and they would have met with failure. That galaxy sword chant was still too important, and battling with a star master that possessed a sword chant without having one himself was simply the difference between heaven and earth. He needed to think of a solution in order to make things work. Inside the bamboo house, Tang Lianxin was still researching every kind of tool refinement path. Su Xing greeted her, and went to the hot spring first, so as to avoid bumping into the girl. Tang Lianxi nodded, her expression somewhat odd as she gazed at Su Xing soaking his whole body in the hot spring. The hot water flowed past his wounds, and a burst of pain flashed once more. Afterwards, it settled down. The bones of his entire body seemingly had all shattered, and at this time, relaxing was indeed exceedingly comfortable. Su Xing recalled the heavenly spirit-grade chest and took it out. Opening it, this robbing and killing for the birth outline could be said to be a disastrous loss. 2 nebula magic weapons were completely destroyed, and the most important was that the devil-suppressing steel and profound star barrier that accumulated star energy with so much difficulty had again lost their star energies. Su Xing originally took these 2 magic weapons, especially the profound star barrier, as his most important counterweights he would rely on for the purple star birth outline. Now, it looked that he would have to again think of something else. This heavenly spirit chest was a few essence stones, ore and sands, thread empty quicksilver, 2 and mixi sand, 3, which shone before Su Xing. Although he could be said to have stayed in the 4-style school for no more than a couple months, he had learned much about tool refinement. If these 2 kinds of ore were paired up with the blooming water divine thunder, he would happen to be able to forge a kind of entirely new bullet. Su Xing's silver blade was not used at all ever since the thunder fire bullets were completely depleted. Now, it seemed there was still a need to persist with his work on bullets. Besides these 2, Su Xing was again pleasantly surprised to discover Daybreak Frost and Snow Essence. With this, the 6 pieces of Daybreak Frost and Snow Essence Lin Xingmei needed to advance to a 2-star destined weapon was only off by 1 piece. Having seen Wu Song's 2-star destined weapon, Su Xing was also considering letting Lin Xingmei greatly advance the Arctic Star Serpent Spear. This way, even if they encountered Wu Song someday in the future, they would have a chance. Little E, what is your 2-star destined weapon still missing? It needs 3 pieces, each of roasting yang stone and in cold jade. 5. Slave servant already has 1 piece of roasting yang stone. Little E replied. Su Xing heard these things were also precious items. Heavenly Star's destined weapon-grade advancement truly was extraordinarily extravagant. Perhaps it was because that they would be this powerful. Reportedly, after a destined weapon was 5-star, even a Super Void-class star cultivator would not be an opponent. Beyond 7-star, transforming stars of Annihilation class would have to concede defeat. Su Xing recalled the first generation's Wu Song's 9-star. It truly was unimaginable what kind of power that was capable of. Daybreak Frost and Snow Essence reportedly exists at Ice Origin Snowy Mountain 6, but it seems there's no more time. Su Xing thought, finally shaking his head. To rush this, when the purple star birth outline was opening, was practically too late. Master, if you wish to have elder sister Yingmei advance to 2-star during the birth outline, slave servant actually knows of a place where it perhaps can be bought. Is there a market square like this? And perhaps it can be seen at the Falling Cherry Ghost Kingdom's market. That's right. I completely forgot about the island kingdom nearby. Su Xing nodded. The Falling Cherry Ghost Kingdom had a sun-binding mountain, 7, and that place was an extremely cold area. Not only was it abundant in Daybreak Frost and Snow Essence and such, the Een Cold Jade also had records of being excavated there. The Falling Cherry Ghost Kingdom was not far from Cooling Kingdom, approximately 3 days' distance, and he could rush back before Wu Xinjie and the rest returned. Little E, thank you really. Su Xing was deeply moved. This does not count as anything. I'm thanking you for helping me tangle up 2-star generals. Su Xing saw Yizhen go all out and using her power alone to give Su Xing space to fight. This is something that slave servant should do. Yizhen's tone was somewhat ashamed. The atmosphere was seemingly a bit silent, so Su Xing then shifted the mood. Right. Little E, what was with that star beast? It looks different from a demon beast. Master, a star beast is a star general's guardian beast, much like a destined star weapon. I've never heard Xinjie speak about this sort of thing. Su Xing said, surprised. Yizhen said, perhaps it is because the time has not come. A genuine star general has a destined star weapon and a star beast to form a mount. Genuine star general? Then do you have them too? Su Xing asked in astonishment.
Yes.
Each star general has her own guardian beast. As if she knew what Su Xing wanted to ask, Yizhen continued her response. However, only after the third phase Evil Smiting Hall could a star general have the chance to obtain her star beast mount. Su Xing noted the 4 words, a chance only after, that Yizhen said. Is it very difficult?
Yes.
Only after Star Masters and Star Generals obtain a Star Beast mount during the third phase could they count as having genuine Star Duels, and starting from this time would Star Masters truly fight in close quarters. What is going on with Wu Song's white and black unicorn tiger? Su Xing was confused. How could that white and black unicorn tiger then be Wu Song's Star Beast mount? Wu Song is a special existence. After the second phase begins, Wu Song's Star Beast has a possibility of appearing at Jingyang Ridge, yet the Star Beasts of the other Star Generals only can appear inside Evil Smiting Hall. Su Xing clicked his tongue. He could not help recall the water margin that he read before on Earth, that universally appreciated classic plot of Wu Song defeating the tiger at Jingyang Ridge. He did not expect there would be such a repeat performance inside the Star Duels, so it was no wonder the first-generation Wu Song could acquire the Overlord status. At the very beginning, she possessed such a cheat that put her too far in front of the others. It seems I cannot continue to be lazy for this Star Duel. Su Xing inwardly ground his teeth. Su Xing raised his head and reclined against the hot spring, pondering over the purple star birth outline and the things of the Star Duels just now. Suddenly, an empty noise sounded beside his ear. Su Xing subconsciously raised his brows, discovering Yizhen had already appeared. The maid was still that indifferent. Her external injuries had already completely recovered, but her internal injuries perhaps still needed a very long time. Little Eve? Just as Su Xing wanted her to go back to self-cultivate, suddenly, he saw Yizhen serenely and unhurriedly unfasten the buttons of her maid's skirt. That maid's skirt quickly slid off her body, revealing the snow-white dazzling body underneath. Besides her underpants, the girl was practically naked. Su Xing stared blankly, forgetting to turn his head away. His tone was severe. Little E, what are you doing? Master, this time, slave servant is ashamed towards master, and is ashamed towards Ingmei. 9. Yizhen entered the hot spring, one delicate hand stroking Su Xing's back, her tone calm, yet carrying a trace of guilt. Let little E serve master by wiping his back. What you've done is already very good. Su Xing shook his head. This was gratitude that evolved from the bottom of the heart. To be able to confront 2 incredible star generals who would feel what she did was not enough. On the contrary, Su Xing only felt that he himself was not able to help her. And this guilt of Su Xing's was nevertheless caught onto by Yizhen's sensitivity. Su Xing immediately thought of the reason the maid would do this. In the event that master has come to blame himself, this is slave servant's fault. Still, there's no need for you to be like this, Su Xing helplessly said. This is what slave servant should do. Yizhen's tone carried the smallest trace of softness, and a pair of delicate hands tenderly stroked along Su Xing's back. As she softly sang, her jade peaks occasionally came into contact, revealing an entirely different kind of warmth and softness. What was strange was that Su Xing this time did not have any lustful intents. His mind was completely concerned on the girl's crooning, her singing voice suave, her lyrics joyful. That song of tenderness with yet unspeakable sorrow, 10 seemingly took Su Xing to that homeland distant as a dream, a place hidden within the depths of his soul. Cloud Brocade Mountain, Heavenly Master Ruins. Ever since the Star Duels commenced, forbid dances that could only be broken into by the star crests of Star Generals had been opened. Previously, many Star Generals had already come to these ruins. Besides a few talismans, there were no valuable things at all. On this day, another 3 pretty girls had come to the Heavenly Master Ruins. Inside the ruins, they exchanged the items clutched in each of the hands of two enormous statues. On that jade plate on the largest hand of the Heavenly Master sculpture, the jade plate suddenly opened. A talisman that released a light blue halo appeared. Sister Xinjie really deserves to be called the resourceful star, breaking open this complex of a mechanism. The girl wearing the black jumpsuit giggled. The three were none other than Wu Xinjie, Shi Yuan, and Lining Mei. At this time, they had been apart from Su Xing already for close to a month. Touring the Azure Dragon territory, the ruins and tombs they had broken into were many, while their harvest was also pretty good. Now, Wu Xinjie happened to plan that after they finished exploring the ruins, they would then return to Flaming Eastern Island. Not meeting for a month made Wu Xinjie quite miss him. Wu Xinjie slightly smiled, ordering, "Be careful. Watch this, young ladies." Shi Yuan's body was light as a swallow. She rose, and every sort of mechanism and trap was consecutively set off, but they were easily avoided by the thief star, as if she was on a familiar path. In the blink of an eye, she was in front of the Heavenly Master's statue. Shi Yuan subtly looked it over for a bit, and confirming it was free of problems, only then did she take the talisman. In the blink of an eye, she was already back between Wu Xinjie and Lining Mei. Shi Yuan then gave the talisman to Wu Xinjie. The talisman's paper was a light blue, its magic script splashing, revealing a mysterious light. The space faintly moved, and Wu Xinjie was hoarse. Territory-breaking talisman. 2. This is that supreme-grade talisman that can eliminate any magic circle or forbid dance. Shi Yuan was astonished. Quietly counting, this supreme-grade talisman unexpectedly came with 5 copies. This really is too good. This young lady did not expect to even obtain a supreme-grade talisman. Su Xing definitely will be shocked. The final trip always counted as having a perfectly happy harvest, and Wu Xinjie rubbed her forehead. "Hiding in a secret place, you sneak. Why don't you come out and show yourself?" Lining Mei turned around, abruptly speaking in a cold voice. Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan immediately stowed away their relaxed mood and also turned around. How rather perceptive. Within the darkness, a man and woman walked out. The man wore a black robe with armor protecting his chest. His appearance counted as rather passable, and the girl was more bright on the eyes. Draped in a blue overcoat with flame motifs on the cuffs and a long flame pattern on her riding boots, she wore a red head cover bound with a hoop, and she had a very weary pair of eyes. The Heavenly Master ruins had been bolstered with a Star General forbid dance, where only Star Generals and Star Masters were able to enter, so this man and woman's identities were exposed. The man slightly smiled. "So it was the Knowledge Star. No wonder you are so incredible. I indeed walked into great luck this time." "Enormously bad luck?" Wu Xinjie smiled. The man laughed out loud and looked at the 3 girls. Other than the noteworthy woman with the flourishing heroic spirit, the others looked to be harmless. The Knowledge Star was ranked 3rd, but her military force was absolutely crippled. This Star Master was not afraid that Wu Xinjie could have some helpers. The so-called birds of a feather flocked together. To be able to strenuously and meticulously break the ruins idea, it may be assumed their strength was only so. The man said to the girl beside him, "Yuandan, 3, how about it? Elder sister Wu Yon could just give us the talisman just now. You having it is a waste." Yuandan stepped forward and said dully, "This certainly will not do. My young lord is but waiting for me to return." Wu Xinjie giggled. "Then don't blame little sister." Yuandan raised her hand, and a silver, engraved with countless flames, flashing a single star, double-edged axe appeared in her hand. Mountain-cutting double-edged axe. So it turns out to be the ranked 105 healthy star god of the dangerous road, little sister Yu Baosi. 5. Wu Xinjie discerned the affiliation of this destined star weapon. In the earthly stars, the god of the dangerous road actually was a military general with rather good military force. The flames on Yu Yuandan's double-edged axe circulated, and that pair of weary eyes gradually became serious. Lining Mei stepped forward, waved her hand, and an ordinary spear appeared in her hand. 6. The man smiled while Yu Yuandan was powerless. Elder sister Wu Yong's bodyguard is actually impressive-looking but worthless, unexpectedly taking up an ordinary weapon to fight me? It is enough to defeat you. Lin Yingmei put one foot forward, her chi like a boulder. The god of the dangerous road Yu Yuandan sensed a sort of pressure, and her eyebrows lifted, unexpectedly not as relaxed as before. Little sister Yuandan, you must try very hard. If this elder sister is angry, a spanking would certainly be very painful.
Wu Xinjie said.
When Shi Yuan heard this, she laughed. Humph. Yu Yuandan immediately raised her hatchet and then went to attack. Her silhouette dodged away, a resounding firework. The god of the dangerous road was startled. Her own one-star mountain-cutting double-edged axe unexpectedly did not slash apart that spear. A star energy barrier. The god of the dangerous road was then stunned, discovering this spear already had a layer of star energy upon it. A star general Yu Yuandan abruptly straightened up, her eyes shooting a swift and fierce light. Gritting her teeth, she lifted her axe up sideways and chopped. Lin Yingmei's spear already thrust out, launching towards the opponent like lightning. As the attack was en route, it suddenly changed direction, but it was not at all a purely abrupt change in direction. Rather, it was an arbitrary attack that followed the master's intent. Even if a weapon such as a destined star weapon was used to block, the spear tip that was struck away could in a flash turn around and counterattack like a snake, simply not letting there be the slightest bit of time to gasp for breath. The god of the dangerous road this time was truly breaking out in a cold sweat. The young girl's body dodged away from this strike, and suddenly shouting without the slightest hesitation, the mountain-cutting double-edged axe raised an expansive arc of light that rapidly spun like a snowflake. The axe weapon danced, and a vast stretch of red flame-like chi rays sprayed towards Lin Yingmei, seemingly an unstoppable hurricane, enveloping its prey tightly inside the flame axe edge's shadow. Without a doubt, it was the Healthy Star's yellow rank axe technique. But a yellow rank attack like this was incapable of halting Lin Yingmei's pace. The girl was just like a peregrine falcon traveling to and fro in the midst of its quick attacks. Even if she was occasionally forced to a dead end of the flame axe, the spear's accurate and swift attacks were enough to lift the siege. Regardless of how crafty the god of the dangerous road Yu Yuandan's attack angle was, how frequently she changed her speed, her attacks seemingly were incapable of harming Lin Yingmei even a tiny bit. That handle was suffused with a cold light, the pike conducting a whirling dance under Lin Yingmei's control, just like a tightly packed iron rampart. Washing away every slash the girl brandished, in the blink of an eye, that ice-cold silhouette arrived in front of her, breaking open all the gaps in her defense. The spear finally split open, but Yu Yuandan was too late to feel glad. The spear split, and Lin Yingmei directly used the short spearhead to suddenly stab, bringing an ice-cold light to Yu Yuandan's eyes. Which elder sister are you? Yu Yuandan asked, overwhelmed with shock. Lin Yingmei did not reply. When the master of the god of the dangerous road saw this, he hastily wanted to back her up. But just at this time, Lin Yingmei's figure fled, appearing in front of him like an illusion. A chilly-to-the-bone nip in the air penetrated into his marrow. Immediately, this man gave up all hope. Don't! Yu Yuandan yelled loudly. The spear point pressed against his throat. Lin Yingmei did not stab it through, for he was unworthy of her stabbing him. Next time, you will not be this fortunate. Lin Yingmei asserted, throwing the spear. The man's legs then went limp. Emerging from the heavenly master ruins, Shi Yuan excitedly said, Elder sister Lin Yingmei is truly too cool. It's fortunate that Su Xing had elder sister Yingmei come with us. Thinking back over every kind of ruin, secret place, forbid dance, and tomb they explored, it was lucky that they had Lin Yingmei protect them. Otherwise, they truly did not dare imagine they would have this much success. We had better quickly return. Lin Yingmei gazed at the horizon. The emotions in her eyes had a trace of undulation. Does elder sister Yingmei miss Su Xing? Shi Yuan laughed into her sleeve. Lin Yingmei said, we are young masters star generals.
This should be so.
Shi Yuan stared blankly, stopped, and left speechless by Lin Yingmei's words. Wu Xinjie laughed. Yingmei, we indeed have troubled you, making you unable to stay at the young lord's side. Lin Yingmei lightly shook her head. However, before we return, there is still one thing we need to do. Wu Xinjie gazed at the distant Maiden Mountain, seeing that the purple light on the mountain had already begun to sparkle. The birth outline's final purple star birth outline already was on the verge of beginning. Is there anything else? Yuana, go inquire for a bit how those great sects are preparing for this purple star birth outline plunder. Pausing, Wu Xinjie cautiously asked, can you do it? Relax. Eavesdropping for information is but the specialty of this young lady. Shi Yuan patted her chest as she pledged. Xinjie sees that in this purple star birth outline plundering, perhaps the other sects have already linked together. Knowing the enemy and knowing oneself is to emerge victorious from every battle. It is still better to first investigate clearly what they will do. Yingmei, what do you feel? Wu Xinjie said.
Good.
When we get back, let us give young lord a great, big surprise. Ha ha. Shi Yuan said in excitement. Who knows if young lord has broken through to Galaxy Stage or not? At this time, he should be breaking through,
Wu Xinjie slowly said.
the Void Immortal's abode. Like Wu Xinjie thought, at this time, Su Xing sat upright and still on the cold ice bed, his whole body's breath soft and continuous, just like flowing water. Su Xing had already maintained this movement now for 3 days. A fidgety Ensuin was nearby, her hands grasping the hem of her jacket, restless. It was the always steady and indifferent Yizhen that could not help but slightly wrinkle her brow. Ensuin, your pill must have usefulness? Ensuin nodded. It surely is useful. Suin has already clearly understood the workings of Big Brother's star energy when breaking through to Galaxy Stage. There is no mistake. And Suin has already prescribed the right medicine with these pills. When she said that she understood clearly, and Suin's charming face turned red. Why is your face red? Yizhen asked. It's nothing. And Suin turned away her gaze, her voice very quiet. Yizhen did not care. Her gaze was completely placed upon Su Xing. They saw that the air surrounding Su Xing already was slowly circulating. Furthermore, it was even more, and after a long time, Su Xing opened his eyes. His face was tranquil. Big Brother, you must have succeeded? And Suin asked. Su Xing anxiously looked at Ensuin. And Suin was stunned. She sighed, Little sister is incompetent. I succeeded, little sister, all thanks to you. Su Xing softly pinched her cheeks. Really? Of course, Su Xing nodded. The nebula energy inside his body was already like river water, flowing past his entire body's channels. This was the characteristic of a Galaxy Stage cultivator, where star energy became a river. Because Ensuin changed from sorrow to joy, she rebuked him. Big Brother, little sister almost was scared to death by you. Su Xing laughed out loud. Yizhen could not help but let loose a mouthful of air. Look at the time. Xinjie and the others are about to return. And Suin said, Then before this, we have to give them a surprise. What plan does Big Brother have? And Suin blinked. We'll go to Falling Blossom's Ghost Kingdom to see whether or not we can help Mei by obtaining the last piece of Daybreak Frost and Snow Essence. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.